to reorganize their championship endeavors, I should say. And the once perennial front runners for Sun Bowl hopes, the Gold Coast Stingrays, there have lost a little bit of their aura over the last couple of years as the decade of dominance came to a bit of a close in most recent years, and that power vacuum has been assumed by the Bayside Ravens, but always a threat, and we will go through some of those names through the broadcast this evening. The Gold Coast Stingrays will be kicking off right to left on your screen. The Brisbane Rhinos running left to right. Hobby is set to kick us off, and the kickoff will be fielded by number 23, Chiam James, who takes a bit of a fumble. Paul looking for a bit of space. Chiam James wrestling his way to the 30, but can't quite get there. The Brisbane Rhinos will be starting their first offensive possession at about their own 27. And while we talk about the next Gen Bowl, it's also a bit of the backup, a bit of a battle of the backups this evening, with both second-string quarterbacks taking the realms of both of these clubs this afternoon as we start off.
Years may remember him from his junior days, so excited to see what he can do. And on the Gold Coast Stingrays, we believe that he's going to be stalwart wide receiver Dylan Napier, who will be starting at quarterback for the Stingrays.
That's they will, but this is a horrible start for the Brisbane Rhinos. Chiam James, kick returner, starting safety, and occasional wide receiver sensation has been carried off the field on the very first play, the opening kickoff. So that is a very big talent and veteran presence to lose very early in this matchup. Right now, his presence won't be felt. Offense taken on the field. Here comes Riley Dix, who made his first start back in 2018 against the Raptors. Set to make his first start in a couple of seasons. Puts a player in motion. That is Toddle, who's on the field to start the game. They're going to throw to him immediately. This ball floats in the air. It was right where it needed to be, but Toddle could not bring that in. Incomplete on first down. We'll have 2nd and 10.
And I like that play call to start off with. Kenny, obviously new quarterback, so not a lot of film on him, at least for the last couple of years. So the Stingrays will be flying a little bit blind in terms of their defensive scouting, having Toddle in motion there and then trying to hit him on that wheel route. Yeah, really like that play call. It was almost there, so good to see Coach Harkness throwing a few wrinkles into the mix already.
Indeed, and it's a bit of a story between these two quarterbacks. Have been battling ever since their junior days. We'll get
very excited to see what he can do as the season rolls on.
There's a couple of different changes here and a few more debutants both sides of the ball here. Dix takes it, clean pocket to operate with, climbs and throws, wants to get a man underneath, and it will almost be caught as well as almost intercepted. Flag down around the Stingrays at 25. The intended target on the field was Lockie Taylor.
Yeah, I like Dix's pocket awareness there. Managed to find himself some time, step up, take the front door exit, put a nice ball out there. Do have the flag on the field. Looks like it's pass interference on number 25 for the Stingrays. Pretty tough assignment, really, when you've got to try and cover someone like that in that position. I think he did it best as he could.
As we look at this upcoming play, and I think it was in fact a pass interference.
Yes.
First down following that last penalty against the Gold Coast Stingrays. Riley Dix, play action pass over the middle for Max Williams, the rookie sensation who's been lighting it up over the opening weeks of the season. Can't bring it in on that play. This will be 2nd down and 10.
And I don't think that'll be the last time we hear Max Williams' name today, Kenny. I really like the play action there from Riley Dix. Really rode that ball well with the running back. Sold it very well. And gave Williams every opportunity to get some separation downfield.
Not a whole lot of time in these huddles. This offense looking crisp, but whilst I might not be executing, the time in and out of the huddles incredibly quick. Riley Dix, 3 receivers out to the open side of the field, near side to your screen. Dix wants to throw right, but under pressure early. Loses one tackler. Now will try to take it himself before the rest of the Stingrays defense come in support. Denton's one of those, but we've got a penalty marker down here from the near side sideline.
There's a couple of flags in there, Kenny, so I'm not sure what we missed there. Could be a couple of things, but Good work there by Dix to extend that play and find some yards of his own there as he was under a significant amount of pressure.
Well, the flag didn't seem to be thrown until the second amount of contact.
Okay, so it looks like it was a face mask penalty there, Kenny.
It is a face mask on the Gold Coast Stingrays. Couldn't quite make out the number. Richard Pratt is your white hat referee this evening. Very experienced official here in Gridiron Queensland. But that's 2 penalties now against the Gold Coast Stingrays that it's going to buoy this Rhinos offense up the field on their opening drive.
With such an exciting spread offense that the Rhinos run, Kenny, you really cannot afford to give away cheap yards in penalties like this, particularly on the first drive of the game.
And for Riley Dix, who's still trying to find his way in this game, this is a dream here, an absolute handicap of a drive here as Wood takes his second carry, trying to find field. Premature first down signal there. We've got second and third, maybe second and a long 2, we'll call that. And now the sticks are moving again. So check that once more. We've got second and less than a yard as the 6 and down marker finally seem to settle.
I still think that might be a generous spot, Kenny, but anyway, no, now...
Well, the sticks continue to move, and now we've got second and beyond the sticks.
So if the viewers at home are confused, that's okay, so are we. So while we just try and work this out...
This is the first home game for the Brisbane Rhinos, and of course, almost every club exclusively uses volunteers, and it's usually one of the first ways volunteers can get their feet wet at a club, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is a rookie chain gang out there, so the lessons are being learnt.
Rhinos coaching staff having a bit of a laugh down on the sideline there, so I think they understand as well that first home game, best laid plans can run awry.
We've got plenty of patience for them. It can be pretty daunting, your first night on the chain. Second down, and I'd say close to 3.5 here for the Rhinos. That's ahead of them here on second down, my apologies. So a bit of a break following that chain reassignment. Riley Dix has got Wood in the backfield with him flanked to his right, and Max Williams, who's been their red zone target, he's sitting there in the right slot.
I really like what Wood brings to the run game so far, Kenny. Probably compared to their normal running back sort of stable, it's smaller, but definitely a very, very fast, very elusive player. So I would expect to see him in some screens and some other things as the game goes on.
Yeah, more about their the injury front of their running backs after this play. Second down, we'll call it 3. Shanks in motion. He'll move to the right-hand side of the field now. Quiet first half from last week. Will they try to get involved early? No, it's Max Williams once again who takes the big hit there from number 8, Christian Denton, who's been a standout player in these opening weeks for their Stingrays defense, but Max Williams finds a way to hold on.
That was a great catch there by Williams in traffic. Knew he was going to take the pop. Didn't get short arms, as we call it, so that's when if you're going across the middle, you get a little bit shy catching the ball, pulls that in, takes the hit, and gets the first down.
I call that the Todd Pinkston. And in the meantime, we've got first and goal following that Williams catch. First completion for the day for Riley Dix. First red zone visit on their opening drive here for Brisbane. 4 wide receivers, Wood in the backfield. Stingrays showing blitz. Ooh. Riley Dix will keep it. He's under pressure. Take it down and goal. Runners are set up around their own 6-yard line following that Barisi sack. Wood's in the backfield. Stingrays blitz here up the middle. Picked up well. High ball and in between 2 Rhinos receivers and hits nothing but Don Duncan Field turf. It'll be 3rd and goal.
I think we see there, Kenny, something we touched on last week is when we see balls sort of flying between 2 players like that situation where the quarterback's defensive read versus the 2 receiver, or in that case 2 receivers read, was a little bit off, and that's why our ball ends up where it does. The quarterback throws based on his read, expecting the receiver to make the same read and be in the same position. Here
we are on 3rd down and goal. The Rhinos are going to stack the short side of the field here with 3 wide receivers. I think that's Taylor on his own outside the near side hashes. They're going to go for the end zone fade route there, and the ball hit the back of the end zone, but Lockie Taylor could not. Good coverage on the play there. Was out wide. I think it was number 25 for the Rays, Eduardo Criado. And he's just a number of these Stingrays players now who have graduated through the Colts program. And on my team list here to my side here, I've got a a list of all players who've come through the Colts program. It's an absolute testament to the fantastic junior, Colts, and youth programs this club has had over the last decade, that so many of these guys are now starters and participators in this men's program. 4th and goal. They're keeping the field goal unit off the field, and the Rhinos will be denied on their first red zone visit. A big goal line stand there from the visitors. I think that was Nada Togafu batting down the pass at the line of scrimmage.
That's a great goal line stance there by the Stingrays defence. Put themselves under a lot of pressure there with 2 big 15-yard penalties on that drive that kept it alive for the Rhinos. But outstanding job on 4th down to get the pressure there and get the turnover on downs. So you'd be happy with that if you're the D coordinator for the Stingrays.
Wanting to pass a lot there on their 4 downs there. I won't be surprised if next time we come down we see big Dean Latumahina, the goal line back of this offense right now, if you wish to feature a carry or two. So now we are seeing Dylan Napier, a long-term wide receiver, starting his first game at quarterback after being the emergency quarterback 2 weeks ago. And they'll start off, of course, with a run to their star running back, Gab Salvo, who in a losing effort against the Ravens looked very impressive in week 1.
Yeah, I really like what Salvo did in week 1 against the Ravens, and I think we'll find, particularly with Napier under centre. Now, keep in mind, people watching anywhere from outside Queensland, we've had a lot of bad weather the last couple of weeks, so the Stingrays have only had 1 field practice in the 2 weeks since Napier was appointed the starter.
Not ideal for a person who's
absolutely not
never started a game at quarterback in their career. But here he is now as one of the veterans of this team. He'll hand to Gab Salvo. How did he spin out of that? Now look at him go. Down Duncan Oval he rumbles, and he'll take this all the way to the Stingrays 40.
What a run by Salvo. Outstanding effort to break the tackle in the backfield. Gives the offensive line a bit of time to get a bit of a push and open some lanes. And even at the end of the run there, he has a bit of a Dusty Martin, don't argue, to keep the players alive. And outstanding game there.
That he does. What a run. That looked like he was in trouble from the moment it was handed off. But that's exactly what that young man can do. 1st down and 10. The first down for this Stingrays offense here this evening comes on the back of a big Salvo run. He remains in the backfield. Spread look here for this Stingrays offense. Test for Gabir in the left slot. They'll have a delayed handoff. That looks slow and awkward, but alas, it is effective. And that's 2 big runs here to start the game here for Salvo.
And something I like so far, Kenny, is the fact that the Stingrays have not been afraid to go to the run game, despite the fact, particularly in that week 1 game, they really had trouble with running the ball. They've made some changes over the last 2 weeks on their offensive line. Same personnel. They've just juggled a few around based on skill set and better fits and whatever else. So it doesn't look a bit different to what we saw, but so far certainly looks a lot more dangerous in that run game.
And we are down at 2nd down. And, of course, the reason Napier's starting this week, John Karikari, the intended starter for the last few years for the Gold Coast Stingrays, unfortunately succumbing to a hip injury he's been putting off all preseason.
Used his O-line well, read his blocks well, and then finished his run off strong, which is what we like to see from the running backs, is the lowering their shoulders and finishing the run.
So one of the last-minute changes there is that Travis Patterson was unavailable, their usual starting defensive end. He was unavailable late tonight, so now Kalashaw has been stepped in there as the starter at defensive end. Wasn't at practice on the 2nd practice this week, so he might be a little fresher following his 1 touchdown performance a week ago. And this will be caught nicely over the middle. I think that was Hobby.
Was it? No, I think it was
Riku Hataya, my apologies. The other veteran of this Stingrays receiving corps.
I really like what the Rays have done there in terms of they've gone to the ground, had a lot of success there, and then Napier runs that play-action pass wide open as it forces the Rhinos to bring extra guys down in the box to defend that run game.
Napier completing his first pass of the game. Of course, I was reminded by John Karikari as I asked Napier if he was a bit nervous coming into this game for his first start. He goes, hey, Napier's thrown more touchdowns than me this year after throwing 3 last week. 2 weeks ago, I should say, against the Raptors-Spartans combined team. So looking to add a pass number 4 perhaps here on their first red zone visit. They're inside the 15 now. This will be a handoff there to Hennessy. Doesn't find nearly as much space this time. Making the tackle there is the number 90, the young defensive end there, and Malachi Relton Stewart. He's one of a couple defenders on the field today who have been off appearing in the young rock shooting down around the Gold Coast and all around Queensland these last few weeks. Keep an eye out for them. Young Rock Season 2. I'll take my check in the mail, thanks.
Free plugs.
Ball now at the Rhinos 12, it appears. Second down and about 6 here for the Stingrays. Napier with Gab Salvo back in the game here. 3 receivers out to the right. Napier will keep. It looked like a bit of a read option. Gab Salvo keeping those legs churning. Gab Salvo getting to the end zone. Have one signal here from the far sideline. That looks like the opening score of the game. Going to the Stingrays, number 9, Gab Salvo.
Great run there by Salvo, and great work by the offensive line there, who didn't give up on the play. Kept pushing and driving and gets Salvo in. So great start by the Stingrays. First drive, they obviously started off backed up on their 5 until the Friday night. So Dylan found out Friday evening he'd be the starting quarterback, and literally the Saturday morning took some reps with one of the underage teams in their warm-ups to try and get his head around what he could of the playbook. So to come out and do that like he did in that game against them is unbelievable. As
we line up for the next kickoff, I'd like to thank some of our sponsors here for this Week 4 broadcast, brought to you by both the Brisbane Rhinos and the Gold Coast Stingrays. The first of which, Resistance Sports Science in Enoggera, the performance and rehab partner of the Brisbane Rhinos, along with Oz MV Brisbane, Australia's distributor for American pickup trucks and muscle cars. Big shout out those two, and I might take this opportunity as well to add iSponsor, aiming to remove the difficulty of connecting businesses big and small to sponsor your organization. So just 3 of the many sponsors making tonight's stream happen. And this is Hobby kicking off. Line drive will go into the hands of Toddle, who fields it before it goes into the end zone. Has a bit of work to do now. Try to find a block there behind Calder Shanks, and a big tackle at their own 12. So it'll be a long field here for this Brisbane Rhinos. And bad news on that play, not returning back there was number 23, Chiam James.
Yeah, unfortunate to see James out on the field, but that was a great tackle there by Christian Denton on that play. That was a great pursuit and a great open field tackle to start the Rhinos inside their 14.
And Christian Denton, along with Lucas Alfrank, 2 younger players who did not start week 1 against the Ravens but came in around the 4th quarter. Lance Tonkilo, on my chats with him this week, said that those 2 guys, once they rotated through against the Ravens, they look like a lot better. They look like a lot better defense. As Dix will hand this off to Wood, who'll find some space down the left-hand side, and it's not until Hatchman initially brings him down, and there'll be a first down. Rhinos there. Wood with the first carry of this drive. But yeah, he said both those 2 players made their defense look better in that week 1 performance. Started in week 2 and believed they were 2 of the best defensive players. So they won their starting spots moving forward. Expects a lot of these 2 young players who have a decorated junior career here at Gold Coast.
Yeah, exactly. Good for Coach LT to make that adjustment in terms of, hey, they've won their spot, so let's give them the chance to play, and they're playing well.
And starting at safety tonight, I think that's Blake Hatchman alongside captain Jamal Sinapati. Over the middle they go, and they find Lachlan Taylor, who I believe is still searching for touchdown number 1 for this season here. Of course, Max Williams has had the lion's share of those looks in the red zone so far. 6 touchdowns, I believe his count is at this point of the season.
He'd be up there with Russell Warwick almost.
Yeah, coming second to Russell Warwick, who has 7. Of course, they're playing up the Sunshine Coast tonight against the Raptons. Yes.
The Raptons, yep.
Over at Bocarina. First down and 10. 3 receivers out to the right. Shanks on liners to his left, and that's the way Dix will want to throw. He's going deep to Shanks. Shanks readjusts, but as does Criado, knocking that ball down on the play.
I actually think that was Evans.
Ryan Evans, my apologies, who is a late addition to our team list, the long-serving Rockingham Vipers player out of the Gridiron West competition over in Western Australia. And for those who aren't too familiar with clubs in Australia, that's one of the better ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking to Jamal Sinapati pre-game, he had massive raps around Ryan Evans and what he's added to the secondary since he's come over.
Said simply, didn't have to coach him much. Second down and 10. Brisbane Rhinos around midfield. Dix play action, wants Shanks again. They'll go for Shanks, and Ryan Evans wins again, but penalty marker down at the point of the catch.
Oh, I'm not sure what the call is here, but Ryan Evans doesn't seem to think that this is on him, and I may agree with him.
There was a wrestle for that ball.
It did look like it was a fair fight. Both players entitled to access to the ball. Didn't look like any intentional push-off. I like that play, though, particularly the way they sell on that play action from Dix. I've been very impressed with his play action mechanics so far. And that was a fantastic deep ball. Just hung it up there for a little bit too long.
And that will be called against Evans, it appears.
Wow.
I saw the penalty go against him. We don't have the officials in our ears at all, so... Or...
No,
ball is not moved. Oh.
Now the ball's going backwards. Maybe it's offensive PI.
It's gone back to the original line of scrimmage. And now they're walking it up. So this looks like it is against the Gold Coast Stingrays, and it is going to be, unless there was no unsportsmanlike conduct we missed on there, that should be a pass interference.
Yeah, I think it was pass interference, Kenny. That's a tough one for Evans. I think that's one you go back and look at in film, and as a coach, you're probably not too upset with.
Yeah, I think it was fair to say both players jostling for the ball there. I think that a no call. I think you could probably penalise both players for grabbing there.
I think that's one you just let them play.
So in that case, that's 3 penalties now against this defence in this game. This give will be to Franz now. Franz involved in the running attack.
Whoa.
And isn't Franz making some moves? Ooh. What a shake on the first defender there. Gets this ball down to the Stingrays 10. Rhinos back in the red zone. Of course, I can't continue to talk about these Rhinos running backs without mentioning usual starter, JJ Camargo, the Brazilian. And he is unavailable for the time being after breaking his fibula last week against the Bayside Ravens, so they're hoping he might be available for the back end of the season and certainly for any postseason aspirations this Rhino team has.
Massive part of the run game to be without.
The Rondonopoulos Hawks veteran of 5 years. In the red zone now, Franz is the back of choice. 3 receivers out to the right, Max Williams to the right. Looking back of the end zone, it is the far from the prettiest pass I've seen in my time calling games, but it will fall safely out of bounds at the back of the end zone.
I think we'll see on that play there that the ball was actually tipped. I didn't catch who it was. Maybe Alafipo on the way out. He got his hand on that, so deflecting that pass. Now, just one thing I'm noticing here, Kenny, just looking down on the Rhinos sideline here as we have a timeout. Simon James is back in helmet on and is in the Rhinos defensive huddle. So I hope that means we're going to get to see him back on the field tonight.
Yes, he did get carried off. He couldn't make it off the field under his own power there. But if he is back, that is huge, not only for this defense but for this Rhino special teams. Yeah,
absolutely. He's a very, very dangerous player with ball in hand. We've seen the last 2 weeks when we've watched, obviously you and I watched their game against the Bears, and then we did the live stream last week against the Ravens, and in the special teams, with ball in hand, he looked very, very scary.
So there was a quick officials timeout there. So no team losing their timeouts. Last time we're in the red zone, went 4 and out. The Brisbane Rhinos looking to even up the score now. Stingrays leading 7-0. Third possession of the game. Riley Dix hauling this to the back of the end zone, looking for Taylor. Taylor can't fight past the defender, and I think that was Hatchman and possibly the cornerback in the outside linebacker in Lucas Alfrank helping out in coverage.
No, it was the ball slipped out of hand on that one. It did seem to sail a fair bit and held up a lot, falling short of the receiver there.
That is a couple of passes now by Riley Dix who've not come out of the hand clean, or at least not been able to head downfield very cleanly here. I don't know if he's going to have to take a deeper drop or protection just has to do a better job, but we've got 3rd down and 10 from the 11. A shovel pass here. This was picked off last week. Franz has got it. Franz is looking for space and making the tackle there, Lucas Alfrank. And it'll be a gain of what looks to be 8 yards approximately. It will be 4th down here. And we'll see if the Rhinos choose to send out Fenwick to add 3. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Offense will stay on the field with Dix. Okay, we've got 4th down. They've got a chance to get a 1st down here without actually scoring. There's about half a yard between the line to gain, and the goal line. But it is 4th down. They'll need about 2.5. Dix will throw quickly out of the hands. It goes, and it is battered down there. Knocking that one to the ground there, Lucas Alfrank. Once again denying the Rhinos in the red zone. That's 0 from 2. The Rhinos start their night here in attacking position.
Been an impressive first quarter for Alfrank there as well. And I just wonder, Kenny, we've talked about how a few the passes coming out of hand by Dix have been a little bit fluttery tonight. It is very, very humid here tonight, so I'd suggest there's a bit of moisture on his hands and on the ball at the moment, which is certainly affecting his grip and the release on the ball.
And nevertheless, here comes the Stingrays.
You see what I see out there?
I do not see nor hear anything.
I'm at number 23.
And that... We see number 9, number 23, Cheyenne James, starting safety, is back on the field. As we see them hand off to Gab Salvo again, and making a nice play on him is the 66 and Harry Martin.
Salvo is very slow to get up.
And just as we get one superstar back in the game, it looks like the Gridiron Qlds are choosing to take another. That would be a huge loss for as big as Hennessy's contributions have been early in this game. You'd think the loss of Salvo in this game could prove pivotal. 7-0 the score here. Rhinos denied on their last possession, and as we've got an injury timeout here as the young Stingray gets some attention. I'll take this opportunity to thank a few more sponsors. This time the Sporting Globe at Chermside. Your award-winning sports bar is the home of sport in Brisbane. Open 7 days. Check him out at Chermside. And also on behalf of the Gold Coast Stingrays and their contributions to this stream, Academy 49, run by their head coach Lance Tonga-Kilo, providing all sorts of learning pathways to this sport of gridiron. Big thanks to all of our sponsors this evening: Resistance Sports Science, Inaugural, AusMV Brisbane, I sponsor the Sporting Globe Chermside, and of course Academy 49. Thank you for tuning in to this Week 4 broadcast. Gridiron Queensland action. 7-0 is your score midway through the first quarter. This will be the Stingrays' second possession. The Rhinos 0 from 2 on theirs. The Stingrays scoring on their first or a Gab Salvo run, but that man is for now on the sideline getting looked over. So stepping in for him, the 35 in Adam Hennessy. New rookie running back. Napier looking comfortable in the pocket. Throws to the flat. Finds Tess for Gabea, who might grab a gain of 1 at most.
Excellent coverage there by Cowles on the play. Maintained his own commitment well and closed that one down very, very fast before they had any room to work in.
And Cowles is another one who stepped into the starting role. Usual starting corner, Sam Collins. I've seen him walking around with a sling. He broke his shoulder blade last week as we there see the end of the first quarter. I said midway. End of the first quarter here. Week 4 Gridiron Queensland action. 7-0 in favour of the Gold Coast Stingrays over the home side at Brisbane Rhinos. Gridiron Queensland Week 4 action largely in thanks of Resistance Sports Science inaugural performance and rehab partner for the Brisbane Rhinos, AusMV Brisbane, Australia's distributor for American pickup trucks and muscle cars. I sponsor, aiming to remove the difficulty of connecting businesses big and small to your sponsor and organisation. And the Sporting Globe at Chermside, open 7 days a week. Your award-winning sports bar is the home of sport in Brisbane, and Academy 49 presenting gridiron growth and development for all the young talent here in Gridiron Queensland. Thanks to Lance Tonga-Kilo from the Gold Coast Stingrays. But yes, Sam Collins broke his shoulder blade against the Ravens last week. Continued to play on with it till the end of the game. But of course, he is out for the foreseeable future, and it is Cal stepping up into that starting cornerback spot. I've also been told to expect starting quarterback Nate Ashton-Miles to see some time at strong side backer. Coach Sam Harkness thought their defense looked a bit sharper with him playing a bit of Sam backer there, or star as they call it in their defense. So a few positional changes up for grabs here. As this carry to Hennessy will be a toss out to the right.
Oh.
And not a whole lot there. A good stand here from this Rhinos defense, which also features Adam Bolton, a new starter at Mike Backer here for Will Saxby, the young rookie in number 40. Let me get
38.
his number there. Was it 38? I'm actually talking about number 46, Xavier Savellino here. A new player they've been very excited about. Very athletic player. He came out of the Nudgee high school system, and certainly know the sport has been littered with GPS talent over the years. Didn't play rugby, though, as a lot of people would assume coming out of GPS, was a basketball talent.
Oh, wow.
And his athleticism has well and truly been on display. We might cover him a little more next defensive drive, but it's a 3 and out on this drive, so a good bounce back from this Rhinos defense, and back to return on his own is number 1, Calder Shanks. Scored one of his first touchdowns of the season last week against the Ravens. Snap is good. Hobby sends their spiraling kick. Not easy to return. They'll probably leave this, in fact. And the Stingrays will down this punt just inside Rhino's territory by a matter of millimeters.
Certainly wasn't the prettiest punt off the boot, Kenny, but I guess the job done, considering how far they were backed up there. Does get them at least out to midfield. Always dangerous when you've got Calder Shanks back there to return the punt. You may have lost James as the return man, at least temporarily, but then when you've got someone like Shanks stepping in there, it does not make the job any easier for the special teams unit to cover.
Yeah, I think like a lot of teams in this league, they do run the 2 return system, so obviously maybe with Cheyenne still being not quite 100%, they're just going to let Shanks handle it, which is a little more space for him to cover. And another change at back here, this backfield by committee, truly in play here for the Rhinos. Dean Latumahina in here, and he'll be fake too on his first carry. A pass going through the hands there of Fenwick, and almost intercepted as well. 2nd down and 10 here for the Rhinos.
Jamal Centerparty thought that was going the other way. He was inches away from that one. Ball just sailed a little bit on Nick's there. Right read, just a little bit high.
2nd down and 10. Dick's still trying to find his rhythm here in his first start in a few years. He's had a first start when he spelled Christian Strong back in that 2018 season, I believe. In that season where the Rhinos went to the Sun Bowl, eventually succumbing to the Griffith Uni Thunder. A handoff here to Dean Latumahina here, but a nice stop on the play from the Stingrays by Cody Bevan, playing at Mike Backer.
It's another one of these young players that, speaking to Coach Tonga Kilo before the game, was very, very bullish about was number 52, Cody Bevan. Has come in as a bit of an understudy for Scott Bryce, the long-time middle backer for the Rays, and has since won himself a starting job.
It's getting harder and harder not to talk about some of the weather around here, Mr. Bolton. 3rd down here for Dix, and Long. He'll throw it downfield for an open man. Caught over the top of his head. Reeling that in is Jared Toshak.
Great ball, great route, great catch. That's exactly what I think the Rhinos have been threatening to do all game with those deep passes. Now they're finally connected to one. Hopefully that gives Dix a little bit of confidence going into the rest of this game. And you are right, Kenny. It is certainly hard to ignore the weather situation right now. We'll continue to keep an eye on that and see what impact that may have as the game goes on.
And they tried Shanks. They tried Taylor. And then the 3rd attempt to Toshak finally proves the good. Latumahina getting his 2nd carry now, and he rumbles forward for maybe a gain of 1 yard, but the rock and maul continues. And here we go, England versus South Africa. And that'll actually gather them a few more yards there. And, of course, we ignore the technical penalty of aiding the runner there. As most teams will get away with it nowadays, and I'm okay with that.
I think now the actual definition of aiding the runner is if you actually pull them from the front.
Yes,
yeah.
that was
if you push them from behind, you're fine. So
that was a key distinction,
have at it, lads.
Wasn't it? Yeah. And it seems silly to take that away from
Certainly just to teach the O-lineman, hey, just don't grab them from the front and drag them. You can push as hard as you want.
So it ends up being a great run, picking up about 5 yards following that big scrum. 2nd down and 5. Dix wants to go left to Max Williams, but he's overthrown here. Almost one-handedly brought in there.
Here's our man Evans again.
By Evans, who's having a whale of a game in this first half.
I really like what both these young corners for the Stingrays have shown so far. I mean, yes, we've had a couple of PI penalties in there, but they've certainly been tested very much by this Rhinos defence, and so far you'd say they have definitely held up to the challenge.
And it feels like it's a bit of nature healing himself there when you think about Stingrays' defence over the last 10-15 years. You think a really stout passing defence, something that keeps a roof over everything. So just feels like a bit of the world going back to normal as Dix can't find the shovel pass. Forced to run and slammed down by Nada Togafu. I hate to say it, in the NFL, that's a flag.
Yeah, I kind of thought there might have been one coming there too as well, Kenny. That was a big hit. Very good gap assignment there by the Rays D-line. Dix thought he had the seam there, but Nagafu made sure that was closed really fast.
And I think part of the reason why that might have altered the decision, and quite frankly, I think that tackle's fine. I know that the NFL is very picky in defending their quarterbacks nowadays, but Dix did technically turn into a runner at that point as well, which
correct, he was.
Contributes. So 4th down and 10. They're inside the red zone. Just their red zone 4th down percentage not looking great. Dix wants to go over the middle to Williams, and it'll be once again batted down. I think that was Scott Bice, the veteran, getting a fingertip to that, and that'll be 0 from 3 to start the game on offense here for this Rhinos attack.
Scott Bice there, long-time middle linebacker for the Stingrays. Probably could have picked that one up, but picked that one off, but so let's say it was smart awareness that it was 4th down and chose to knock it down instead of trying to take it himself.
Adam Bolton, I've got to say, you've got one of the most competent kickers in the league in Fenwick. You've come down to the red zone 3 times now within field goal distance from what we've seen of the young man. At what point do you got to dial down the aggression and look at just getting some points on the board?
Hasn't been a lot of faith shown in the brand today, has there, Kenny? We've seen him. Well, we talked last week about the one we saw him kick against the Bears that was probably good from close to 50 something. So yeah, I mean, suggest you put him out there.
Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Okay, so it's not for what we were feared it might be. Oh, no, it is.
It is what we feared it was.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be in for an extensive pause in this game and broadcast, as unfortunately the Lightning and Thunder here on the inner west of Brisbane has come a little too close to our Week 4 game. So we are in for a bit of a wait here. I believe, if my memory serves correct, at least a half hour.
It's 30 minutes. From once I think it's the Lightning to Thunder has to be beyond 4 seconds, and then once that's happened, it needs to remain that way for 30 minutes.
In any case, in for a bit of a late night here on your GQ broadcast, Kenny Andres, Adam Bolton, Stingrays at Rhinos. We'll put a notification up on the screen, but we're due for a bit of a weather break. Ladies and gentlemen, it appears we are back. To those who have kept us on your screen for the last 20-odd minutes, we salute and appreciate you. The Lightning looks like it is passing us here at Mitchelton, although somewhat still present. Looks like it is far away enough. Haven't heard thunder in the last, what would you say, 7 minutes?
At least.
Adam Bolton?
Yep.
So once again, Kenny Andres with his broadcast partner, Adam Bolton, talking you through this Gridiron Queensland Week 4 matchup. Stingrays with a 7-0 lead. Back on the ball here at the top of the second quarter. Following this Lightning delay, Napier back to throw. Will throw over the middle. The test for Gabia, who's caught it with space. He's down the field, past halfway, past the 40, and now he gets roughed out of bounds around the Rhinos 33.
Great way to come out straight after the Lightning delay, Kenny. People might be a little bit flat. I think we caught a safety or two there, a little bit flat-footed. Outstanding play call there by the Stingrays.
And if it's one of those situations, not to creep into your collar territory here, Bolts, but coming out of a long break like that, you want to call something that has big play capability.
Yeah, absolutely. For that reason, catch people napping, but also just, re-establish some momentum going into the rest of the game. 1st
down and 10. Napier, who is not on the box score at least, looking like a second game starter. Gab Salvo, I think, is back in the game. He was under a bit of a head injury assessment in the first quarter. His first carry back is for a loss of about half a yard here. 2nd and 10 upcoming for the Gold Coast Stingrays.
Probably the momentum swinger you want to have as the Rhinos after giving up that big play. Try and come back and re-establish your own dominance there. That was a very, very good good read and reaction there by that Rhinos D-line.
Here we are. Okay, it was actually a bit more than half a yard loss. They have actually marked this back at the Rhinos 31, so about a loss of 2.5, almost 3 yards on that last run. We've got double sticks now here for the Gold Coast Stingrays on 2nd down. 3 receivers out to the right. Nat Neal, Tesfa Gabir, who caught the last big passes in the middle of those 2 receivers. They'll pitch out to the right with Salvo. He'll try to accelerate quickly. Look at the jump cut speed of that young man. And they will call this what I believe to be possibly on the earlier side.
Forward. I think they're calling forward progress there, Kenny. I don't know about that. It seems like you're still bouncing and working and stuff like that. It's one of those ones as a coach, that scenario, you don't like it because you think he's going to break away, but then if he had been cut down 5 or 6 yards back and you take that, they get given that spot, you then argue that his forward momentum got stopped. So it's almost a no-win one for the referees on that one.
Right, it's a lose-lose situation there for our Zebras. 3rd down and 10. Last 2 plays, running plays here from the Gold Coast Stingrays, albeit so much of their success in between the 20s has been off the arm of Dylan Napier. 3rd down and 10. 3 receivers out to the open side, far side of the field here. Matt Major, who's yet to receive a pass here, is the target on this play, and he tries to come back for it on that out route. Got his fingers to it, not enough. This will be 4th and 10. The Rhinos stiffening up now after that first down grab at the beginning of the resumption of play.
Good pressure there from the Rhinos as well, helped with that incompletion. There was significant pressure in Napier's face there, which stopped him stepping into the pass. So throwing off his back foot like that means the ball did drop quite quickly out of the air and fall short of Major, who otherwise probably could have turned upfield for a decent gain. For
those just tuning in, 2 new quarterbacks starting this week, although Napier did play last week, and actually I've just realised started last week. I thought he got called in the middle of the game due to injuries to John Kari, which is a season ender, as well as Mitch Bradford for the Brisbane Rhinos. Riley Dix starting in his place. On 4th down here to try and keep this drive alive. Over the middle it goes, and it is knocked down by the new middle linebacker for the Rhinos. That is Xavier Savellino making his first play in his very first game here for the Brisbane Rhinos.
Yeah, good coverage there by the Rhinos. Quite aware, clear passing situation. So, let's bring our front 4 pressure and try and make Napier beat us with his arm. So, good play call there, and has given themselves a decent field position to start their next drive.
So, chance for the Rhinos here, who have gotten to the red zone all 3 of their possessions so far tonight, but have failed to come up with points. 1st down and 10. Riley Dix, play action pass. Under pressure off his back foot. He throws right into the waiting arms of Hatchman. The Stingrays with an interception going down the far side. Sideline will eventually be taken out. A tackle there by Max Williams, but it is Hatchman getting the Stingrays back on the ball.
Yeah, great awareness there by Hatchman, but great pressure there by the Stingrays front 4 to get pressure there on Dix. Not sure what he was looking for there, if he thought he had a deep route or a fade pattern there. But certainly he's thrown that one under huge pressure off his back foot, floated it out there, and literally picked Hatchman out by himself.
That he has, and as a safety, they don't comment a whole lot easier than that. So, Napier more or less back where he was 2 plays ago. A mulligan on this offensive drive. 1st and 10, a ball on the Rhinos 26. Another handoff to Gab Salvo. The tackling getting better here from the Rhinos. Making a tackle there, Jackson Collins, and I think over the top there, Matthew Skilton rotating in on this defensive line.
I think what we're starting to see here, Kenny, as well, is the Rhinos' front seven, or front six, is quite small, but very, very athletic. Whereas the Stingrays' offensive line, quite experienced, but quite big and not quite as athletic as their opponents. And I think we're starting to see now that the Rhinos are using their speed and athleticism to their advantage against the run game.
They are indeed. The bulk of the size here on this Rhinos roster definitely tends to sit on the offensive line in their unit. Napier here on 2nd and 11 will take it himself. It's the first time they've called a keeper for Napier, and the usual wide receiver grabs maybe 5 yards on that play here based on what I can see, and they'll have 3rd down and 5.
I understand the importance of changing up your play calling, Kenny, and obviously throwing some variety out there to keep the defence honest. I would think for both of those teams, though, with the injury situation in their quarterback rooms, I don't know I'd be calling my QB on a keeper like that in the next few weeks at least, anyway.
It is a rough decision, though. I guess Napier, at the end of the day, is still right now more wide receiver than quarterback, so you've got to use his athleticism and still play to his strengths.
That's
3rd
true.
down.
And he wouldn't like being wrapped in cotton wool either, let's be honest.
Exactly right. I don't think any of the Napiers would, to be fair. They're a tough footballing family. 3rd down and a short 5 here for the Gold Coast Stingrays. Back-to-back keepers here for Napier. Offensive coordinator Connor Brewster clearly disagreeing with your school of thought here, Adam Bolton.
Oh, absolutely. I'll hear about that this week. That's fine. I think as well with what we saw the Rays run game being so dominant earlier was that size advantage they had. They were using a lot of inside run plays, but the offensive line were getting off the ball quite well. Now, we've noticed that as the game's gone on, and particularly since this lightning delay, Kenny, if you watch the Stingrays O-line, they're not getting off the ball slowly, but their first movement is to stand up as opposed to attack the defensive line, and that's allowing the speed of the Rhinos' defense to get into the run game. So there's something that needs to be adjusted in the second half if the Rays want to continue to have success on offense.
Currently a commentator, always a coach. Adam Bolton, one of Gridiron Australia's finest when it comes to the art of offensive line. 4th down and 4 here for the Gold Coast Stingrays. They're going to go for it. They're going to trust Napier to throw. He had someone over the middle, and the pass falls incomplete. Multiple bodies on the ground there. Appealing for an offensive PI is safety Tyson Snag. Won't get the call, but he does get his offense back on the field. A whole lot of turnovers on downs here from both of these offenses.
Definitely not a day for the brand, is it, Kenny? We've not seen much of the kicking game at all. So... I mean, for those watching at home and the fans of offense, you're going to love seeing that. But yeah, that's what, 3 or 4 now we've seen.
Now, I was watching the Rich Eisen show this week. Now, who's that older gentleman from that long-serving Larry David?
Yes.
Larry David was on the Rich Eisen show. He said he wanted to completely get rid of the game of kickers and punters. In fact, wanted to get rid of the goalposts. We are currently watching Larry David's ideation in real life here. Larry David, if someone wants to tag you, this is what your game of football looks like. 1st down here for the Rhinos. A nice RPO. The catch is there to Toshak. Toshak with one big catch already. Adds another there, and I think he's got his team a 1st down by a matter of inches.
Great tackle by Ryan Evans there. Good open field tackle as we have a Stingray down here. It looks like it may be cramp. Let's hope that's all it is. I just can't quite make out the number.
The intercept E of Blake Hatchman, I believe.
Yes, I think it is Blake Hatchman who's down at the moment. So back to what you were saying about the Larry David's version of the game and all that malarkey. I would, if it's not already on a podcast this week, I'd love to hear Pat McAfee's take on.
Oh, it's already on there.
It is.
It's already on there.
It's all right. That's I guess what I'll be YouTubing when I get home. I imagine it would be a very colourful take on that idea.
Quote unquote. For those who don't watch, former NFL and now sports personality, Pat McAfee's opinions on this. He said, and I quote, "I didn't know I had to hate Larry David now." So
Pat's well known for his claiming friend of the show for anybody who's ever watched or been anywhere near the show.
Tweeted, breathed. Very much so.
Was viewing at one stage. Followed on Twitter, any of that stuff, but yeah, obviously making enemies now as well. The
bad or good news, depending how you want to see it, on this injury to Hatchman, it's happening right in front of us. It does look like it is just cramp. He's getting massaged out as we speak. I think a lot of players of old would have issues of a player stopping a game just to get massaged out for a cramp. But that is strong safety Blake Hatchman, who I met personally for the first time at the start of this game and as I said, he had a big intercept last drive to get his team back on the field, but alas, the Rhinos defense stood their equal and denied the Stingrays offense. So right now we've seen 6 possessions happen in this game. This is the 7th, and only one of those has produced points. First down and 10, Brisbane Rhinos. Riley Dix wants the screen to Wood, overthrown. He hits Josh Koo in the back. That's a big target for him to hit. And that'll be 2nd down and 10.
Did mention earlier, Kenny, we thought we see Wood brought into the screen game.
2-minute warning just called there from White Hat referee Richard Pratt.
Yeah, it's good to see Wood brought into the screen game there. Obviously didn't quite execute as planned, but I imagine they'll go back to that well, given particularly how aggressive that Stingrays front 4 has been so far this game.
That it has, and we talked about the undersized D-line, it appears, for the Brisbane Rhinos. That O-line you can't quite say the same of. Even just a look of left tackle there, Frankie Tinalau. He's a big young man. 2nd down and 10. Riley Dix will hand off to Wood. Nice jump cut by that man. Look at him burst into the open field. Still going. Shaking tackles, spinning and turning and getting this Rhinos offense all the way down to the Stingrays. 36.
What an impressive run as we see a... Sorry, viewers, I think we've got a timeout here.
We had just had an official's timeout for the 2-minute warning here. I'm trying to see which way this is going.
I think it's a Rhinos timeout. It hasn't been signalled yet, but it looks like that's the Rhinos coaching staff were very fast off the sideline on that, so I believe they've called it. Would make sense if they've got the ball and being under 2 minutes. Outstanding run there by Wood, though. Great jump cut when facing pressure in the backfield there, and then yeah, good leg drive to finish that run. Very, very impressive.
It's actually quite funny that we're seeing another Wood out here in Gridiron Queensland wearing the number 33, is it? Because it reminds me of former junior and senior running back. I think he was playing for the Bayside Ravens last time I saw him, but also represented the Sun Devils. Joel Wood,
yes,
originally from the Toowoomba team. In his junior days, I believe.
Oh, you're testing me now there, Kenny. I think he was.
He was. I believe I coached against him back in the day. But he was another man built very similar to Mr. Wood here in this Rhinos outfit, wearing a similar number, playing a very similar play style. They want to throw this out of bounds. Riley Dix wisely didn't see what he liked and just got that ball safely out of bounds. Good maturity shown there from the young quarterback.
Yeah, very much so. Taking a sack in this situation, particularly inside the last 2 minutes, would be a disastrous situation. So, fling it over the sideline, live to fight another day. But great pressure there from the Stingrays front 4. Definitely using the athleticism and speed they've got there against that bigger O-line.
Now, I've seen paper, I've seen iPads, I've seen a whole bunch of technology hit the sideline of this sport, but I think I've just seen a laptop there from one of the coaches on the Rhinos coaching staff. That's a new one. And this will be a Riley Dix keeper. He's found some space, but he'll have a whole lot of Stingray to negotiate, and that's a nice hit there. Is that Hatchman back on the field? It might, in fact, be Al Frank, possibly.
Maybe.
No, it is Al Frank, I think. The 28, not 26. I'm confusing a lot of those numbers tonight.
Yeah, it was Al Frank by the looks of it.
And here it is, 3rd and long. Very little time to huddle. They want Shanks one-on-one. But once again, it's going to be the 2nd flag of the game here on Ryan Evans. I don't know if we'll be able to get a look at that on replay there to see how close that was to a flag.
There we go. No, didn't quite catch the play there. Yeah, another tough call there. Need to have another look at that, to be honest. I thought both players were going for it. I think just Evans is called a little bit out of position there.
Shanks' credit, did everything he could to make the referees make that call. He earned that call.
He tried to get back to the ball. He certainly made his feelings known about the situation and got the call, so good for him. But anyway, here we go. We've got first and 10. Just waiting for these sticks to move.
So I could be wrong here, but my count, that is 4 penalties against this Stingrays defense. Almost... I think 3 of them have been pass interference. Despite the penalties, currently in favor of the Brisbane Rhinos. The Stingrays defense has done the job, particularly in the red zone, to keep this donut on the board and protect this 7-point lead. Franz will be used as a dummy, and they'll throw to Max Williams, who's yet to get in the end zone this evening, but he's certainly trying to change that. And he will be well short, but the Stingrays sideline is taking exception to something. They had a lot of come-ons from the Columbia Blue sideline.
I think they felt there was a late hit there, but neither the player involved seemed to worry and got helped up by the guy involved. So I don't think there's anything to it.
It's NASCAR. The Rhinos offense isn't going to huddle here. They're going to keep the pedal to the metal. Franz in the backfield. 3 receivers to the left. Max Williams in the slot. They're going to go to somebody in the end zone, and they've got him. That is, in fact, Max Williams again, the leading touchdown scorer for this Rhinos offense. He's picked up touchdown number 7.
I think we just see it on the back end of that play. Hatchman has pulled up again with cramp or something similar. So let's hope that's not something serious and we get him back in the second half. But yeah, great play call there. Great touchdown just before the half. I think the Rhinos will be fairly happy to have some points on the board, but at the same time we'll probably be disappointed that they have visited the red zone multiple times this evening to only have 6 points at this stage. Potentially 7 with the extra point still to come.
So Fenwick, who's both of us believe is up there in the upper echelon of kickers in Gridiron Queensland. He hasn't been given an opportunity as of yet tonight, and that is too many players on the field. That is what the Rhinos will be penalised for. So they're certainly going to need his talent here on this kick.
So that's an absolute coach killer, that one. That's a pretty straightforward one. Get your bodies on the field for the extra point. And I think at one point they had probably 13 or 14 out there, Kenny. There's a few bodies ran off.
You say it's a coach killer, but I think that's also one of the bigger coach penalties.
Well,
around there
be,
sometimes. Yeah. But it all depends on who's in charge and who actually made the mistake, who forgot to tell the coach they were no longer available, etc., etc. In any case, for the PAT here, following the Max Williams touchdown to make this a tied game at 7-all leading into the half. Fenwick kick is up, and the kick is wide right. So the Stingrays, seemingly bar some end of half heroics, should lead the game here at halftime, 7 points to 6, which quite frankly is huge. Because if I were to play devil's advocate, if the weather were to play a factor here in the second half, 1 point could get them the victory.
Well, that's correct, Kenny. For those playing along at home and may not be aware, if we have another lightning delay during half-time or during the second half with the score as it is and that we don't get back on, the half-time score is, or the score at the time of the storm is what holds. So if we have one roll in at half-time and we don't go back on, Stingrays will take the win.
That's it. Halftime, it constitutes enough as a game played here, so that 1 point could be pivotal even. Or pivotal.
Pivotal? Yeah.
Third time's a charm.
You get it.
Yeah, and then, of course, the talking points for us, purely as the media that serves for this organisation, will be talking about whether the Rhinos should have taken 3 in one of those various red zone trips.
Exactly right, Kenny. I mean, that would be a discussion from that point. As you said, the leading news and discussion source for the league.
Outside of Chris Mooney.
Correct.
Love you, Chris. Fenwick, after the failed PAT, will send this kick down. He put a little bit of vinegar behind that kick. Bit of frustration from the missed PAT, perhaps. Touch back here on the play. Don't have the exact time for you, ladies and gentlemen, but that was a big, long drive for the Rhinos, who did hit the 2-minute warning in possession. So I would be significantly less than a minute here before halftime, I would imagine, for the Gold Coast Stingrays.
I suggest we'll probably only see maybe a run or two here, Kenny, and that'll take them to halftime. And I think for the Stingrays, I mean, you'd probably be fairly happy with that, particularly how your defense is held up in the red zone. And on the other side, the Rhinos probably a little bit disappointed with the scoreboard as it is, given they've moved the ball very well on offense. They just have not had the points to show for it.
Well, the Stingrays' defense could be a couple of red zone trips better.
Yeah.
Sans a few of those pass interference calls, so a bit of discipline, I would have to imagine, will be one of the communications there from Lance Tongakilos to his troops at half, and they will pass the ball. Big hit as he throws there on, who's there back there, a quarterback? Is that Noah Hull, whose father's sitting filming here next to him, and he gives a big, proud dad fist pump there. And that is now third, move to second string quarterback Noah Hull. Clearly with a...
looks like that's part... Is that half time?
No, there'll be a timeout here. But that would suggest that there is probably merely seconds left in the first half.
So interesting seeing Noah Hull out there at QB, as during the lightning break, we got a chance to speak very, very quickly with Connor, the offensive coordinator for the Stingrays, who did hint to me that there may be a package or two coming out later on with Noah Hull under centre or at QB. So obviously brought that out just before half-time, probably give the Rhinos a bit of a look at it and just a little uncertainty and something to think about going into the second half.
Well, the fact of the matter is he's no longer the emergency quarterback. He is quarterback number 2 and could be needed in a pinch. So you need to start finding a way to incorporate him and familiarising him with the position of need.
That's a pretty good start. Good ball under a lot of pressure. Took the hit, bounced straight back up. And now we have first down.
First down and 10 here. Let's see what trickery or chicanery this Gold Coast Stingrays offense has under their hat. Rhinos defense isn't playing particularly deep here.
Oh dear.
And Noah Hull wants to run with it. Now we'll run back and throw to safety to absolutely nobody. The Rhinos want an intentional grounding. Now this will be interesting because he broke the tackle box out to the left before coming back to the right, back into the pocket and throwing. I actually don't know if that justifies an intentional grounding.
I view that differently to you, Kenny. I'm not even sure he actually did get outside the tackle box to start with. So, I mean, the ball, he threw it inside the pocket and there was no receiver in the area. So I would have thought the Rhinos had probably fair grounds to question that.
In that case, the officials disagree with one of us.
Well,
and another opportunity to try and pinch a bit of yardage here and maybe a go ahead or keep away score here for the Gold Coast Stingrays. 1 point the difference with only a few plays left in the first half. Noah Hull throwing with everything he's got. Intercepted by Chiam James, who won't be afforded the opportunity to do anything with it. But has he given his offense a chance to throw a Hail Mary or two themselves?
A good play call there, good play design. I can see what the Stingrays are trying to do there.
We just muted ourselves for a hot second as I madly yelled from the commentary box, trying to get an official time check for all of you viewers online at the moment through our live stream app. Do apologise with the issues going on with Facebook. Take that up with Zuckerberg, not us.
Now, Kenny, you mentioned the laptop on the sideline, which I've just seen as well. I do know one thing it's going to be good for. If the rain comes back, we're going to know about it before we actually see it.
Exactly right. Perhaps that's what it is. Here I thought it would be marking down plays. I think you might just have the bomb shot out on the screen. First down and 10. Can't be a whole lot of time left on this clock. They're trailing by 1 point, and it is an attempted swing pass out to Angus Franz. Pass incomplete there by Riley Dix. Second down and 10, although it's not the downs right now that matter.
No, definitely. It's definitely a time factor at this point, Kenny. We must only have a couple of plays left at best in the half. Don't mind that swing pass idea. Obviously, the defense is going to be backing up in a prevent type coverage. So, hey, get it to one of your elusive guys underneath and let him try and make some moves. We've
seen all three backs participate so far tonight in lieu of JJ Camargo. Right now I see Wood, who had an impressive play last drive. He's icing up the elbow. Franz currently in there, though. Dix has got Shanks. Awkward position. Tried to keep him safe to the sideline there, but ultimately the coverage is good by Evans and Sinapati on Calder Shanks. Third down.
Decent coverage there. Ball was a little bit overcooked as well, which certainly helped the situation. I think Shanks was in the right position. Ball was just a little bit overdone, as we must now be very, very close to half-time. I suggest we're going to see another deep shot here from the Rhinos.
I wouldn't put it past Coach Harkness yet. If we see something like a hook and ladder, I will not be surprised. Third down. A little shovel pass out to here to Franz, and they've had mixed results on this play here, and Franz is trying to make the most of it. Eventually driven back in that tackle after making 5 yards. Let's see if the Rhinos take a timeout. It doesn't look like they're keen to.
Good execution there by the Rhinos on those shovel plays we saw last week. Kenny, the timing was a little bit off on that. We did see Jason Leon take one to the house.
Timeout, Rhinos.
If we have a timeout here. No, it might be the half.
Nope. I think they're on it.
It's time out.
We'll get there right eventually. But you're right. Jason Leon, the 16-year longest-serving Bayside Raven, finally, after 16 seasons, got his first touchdown. I'm absolutely devastated not to have called that for that man.
Did speak to Jason after the game, and he suggested he's going to need an ice bath for the rest of the week for both his hamstrings.
Yes, he did. And, yeah, I had a quick apple juice after with him after the game to hear his thoughts, and he was just excited there was video proof of it because didn't think any of his old boys would believe him if they told him. So
one thing about Jason Leon, mate, win or lose, he'll hit the apple juice.
That he will.
Do like in terms of what we're saying about the shovel pass. I do like how the Rhinos have tidied up the execution of that, but the Rays have definitely watched their film this week as they've covered it very well the 2 times we've seen it. 4th
down here, and they're lined up in a Hail Mary look. Dix will have to put everything behind this.
Whoa.
Going downfield, looking for Shanks, but it is knocked down. Almost intercepted by Jamal Sinapati. And I've got to think this has got to be halftime here with how close the Rhinos snuck in that last time out.
I think by the looks of the way both teams are coming off the field and no other units going on, suggest that is it.
That is Richard Pratt raises the ball. That is halftime here at Don Duncan Oval. Franklin Ovals here at West Mitchelton, the home of the Brisbane Rhinos. We're going to take a short half-time here, I imagine, due to the lightning break, but on our way out, big thank you to Resistance Sports Science, AusMV Brisbane, our sponsor, the Sporting Globe, Chermside, and of course Academy 49 for joining together to help these two clubs bring you this broadcast here in week 4. Kenny Andres, Adam Bolton, here with you on the other side of halftime. Back, ladies and gentlemen, halftime is over. We are back, set to start quarter 3 of this week 4 matchup. Rhinos hosting the Stingrays here at Don Duncan Oval, here at West Mitchelton Rugby League Football Club. And right now it is 1 point between these two teams. Scoreboard will be back on the screen any minute. As Fenwick boots this ball all the way to Nunda. With that kick, clears the end zone. And his big leg still on display.
We don't need a kicking game, Kenny.
According to certain personalities in the entertainment business. But I had a quick chat. Both of us caught up with the coaches there at halftime there. I spoke to Sam Harkness. Adam Bolton spoke to Lance Tonga Kilo. I spoke to Sam Harkness regarding the empty end zone visits and what they need to do in the second half. And he goes, it's pretty obvious. We just need to work on our being able to capitalize on our opportunity. Very happy with how his team has managed to get his team down to the red zone. And I asked him whether the field goal unit was going to be incorporated more in the second half, and he goes, I trust my quarterback, and is more than happy with the decisions he made in the first half, as the first play here for the Gold Coast Stingrays was intended to get Matthew Major involved. Incomplete, but yes, and he believed they showed their signs of execution towards the back end of the half there, and so he believes that's starting to come together on the defensive side of the ball. He says, you know, they've got a quarterback who's got very limited experience there, and of course we're going to make him try to throw as much as possible there, and they believe if they force the ball into the hands of Napier, that is a pretty decent recipe for winning this football game. What did you get on the other side of the fence there, Adam Bolton? As we see the change of quarterback, Noah Hull looks to be starting here the second half, and I guess those plans to get Napier to throw will be on hold as the new linebacker, number 46, Savellino, takes down Hull in the backfield. Reports out of Camp Stingray.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that about trying to force that ball into Napier's hand. The Stingrays were of the opinion they could already see that was coming with the blitz packages that were being run, and they were trying to force that passing game. So they said that at halftime they were going to make that change to Noah Hull for the remainder of the game in order to get a bit more experience behind centre and make the passing game more of a threat. In terms of the score at halftime, I thought it was probably about fair. There was also some discussion, obviously, penalties on the defensive side of the ball have to be tightened up significantly in this second half.
That they did. Here we are, 3rd down. The first real big test here for Noah Hull, who, if memory serves correctly, played a few snaps at quarterback in his junior days, but never as a starter. Here he is now, throwing out to the left-hand side. Wanted his one-on-one receiver, who was Ardian Sabat. Couldn't complete, so this will be 4th down, and it looks like they will send on the punting unit. And we will see the first punt of this evening.
Second punt of this evening.
First punt of the second half.
Yeah, so that was the main feedback from the Stingrays sideline was about, penalties on defence need to be tidied up and the change at quarterback. Also want to try and get a bit more physical in the run game as well, which we saw they had early success with in that first quarter and then seemed to have gone away from that a little bit.
So he kicked it to the halfway line on his punt in the first quarter. Here Holby goes with another torp that will land inside Rhinos territory but take a Rhino bounce, and the Stingrays will down that once again just inside Brisbane Rhinos territory. So decent field position here for the Brizzy Rhinos. Riley Dix, one touchdown to his name in the first half. We'll look to add on that here in the opening possession of the second half following the 3 and out from the Stingrays.
Yeah, unfortunate bounce there on the punt from the Rays there, which certainly helps the Rhinos field position. But yeah, interesting to see what adjustments they make here in the second half on particularly on their red zone offense. They've had no trouble moving the ball. It's just, as you alluded to, Kenny, those empty red zone visits in terms of points is something that they would really want to tighten up on, not just in this game, but also obviously moving into the rest of the season when they have to face that very dangerous Ravens team again.
1st and 10 here, trips formation out to the far side of the field. Dix now with Latu Mahina in the backfield. They're going to try and get Toddle involved. He started the first half as well. Pass was over his left-hand shoulder. Incomplete, 2nd down and 10.
Good coverage there by, I think that was Evans again, the WA product. Ball wasn't catchable, but regardless, he was on the hip and, outstanding coverage there. The
former Rockingham Viper has given up 2 PIs, but technically hasn't given up any catches this evening. I'll say technical, literally given up 2 PIs. 2nd down and 10. They won't give it to Latu Mahina. They'll go to the pass here and catching that for the 2nd time this evening. Oh no, it'll be his first catch, Adam Cole, 2nd target.
Adam Cole of wrestling fame.
Now, I'm just being corrected here, and I'm surprised his father hasn't corrected me on this. Noah Hull was, in fact, the starting QB for the Colts all of 2020. I forgot about that. He, in fact, also won the MVP, which I had a vote in. You'd think I'd remember that, but just goes to show how many games of football I call over a 2 years period. So Noah Hull, plenty of experience, of course. None of that on 11-a-side football. So you can see now why the Stingrays, no qualms of putting him here in the second half. 3rd down. 4 yards to go. Total goes on an orbit motion. Latu Mahina swinging out to the left, but Dix wants to go deep to Toddle, and Toddle's got it. Big catch down the right-hand touchline. That puts them inside the 10. Bailey Toddle's been used a number of ways, specifically designed for that young man. This one produces a huge gain through the air.
We saw that orbit motion and that exact route in the first quarter, Kenny, in the first drive. And the ball was just out of reach of the receiver the first time around. We said we'd see it again, and there we go. We see it right there and has the ball now down inside the 5 by the looks of that.
Was the target of the first throw of the game from Dix there, where they used him swinging out to the right. Pass was a little in front of him that time. Dix right on the money. Inside the 10 now. 1st down and goal. Latu Mahina is the tailback, and he will get the carry here. No, they fooled me once again, and this pass is incomplete. Pass, of course, targeted to who else but Max Williams.
Looks like there's some laundry on the field here, Kenny. Maybe offside on the defense, but we'll wait for that wait for the referees to come together on this one.
That was also a very long pullback on the handoff there. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an offensive lineman a little too far downfield.
You could be right there as well, Kenny.
But the Rhinos seem to be happy with the call, so looking for Richard Pratt. He's lost behind the huddle of Rhinos there.
I can't see him from my angle either, Kenny, so I don't know.
I've just seen the down marker move up close there, so it was, in fact, in the defense, half distance to the goal. I think offside was the call. 1st down and goal, ball at the 2. Dix with Big Dean behind him. And the handoff, no. Once again, more Possibly intercepted from the Stingrays back of the end zone. Penalty markers down in the vicinity. In and around the ball there was Ryan Evans. And it was some more good handiwork there from Riley Dix, because Latu Mahina was stuffed at the line here.
Also, it was deflection from Sinapati as well in the end zone. It's eligible downfield by the looks of that.
And, well, the penalty suspected a play ago is now the penalty in case. And right now, you got to tell me, Adam Bolton, it must be hard for an offensive lineman on these RPOs at the goal line where you're trying so hard to push that ball runner in to not go too far downfield. And I remind everyone, if it is a run play where you hand the ball off, the offensive lineman, which is those big collection of lads in front of the quarterback right now, they can't actually go downfield more than a yard.
No, correct, Kenny. So we'll just watch this play here.
First down and goal. Will they finally give it to Dean? They do, but can't get a whole lot out of that. Making the tackle there was Scott Bice.
So generally in a goal line situation, Kenny, particularly in the RPO situation, at least, you know, how I've coached it, or how I've seen it done is, yeah, you're right. We don't want receivers the linemen getting too far downfield, but also an element of that is fast decision making from the quarterback and making sure he's got his reads and his receivers in the right position to get that ball away very quickly to avoid that situation. So there's a couple of things that come into play there.
So it looks like there actually was a loss on the play there. It looks like second and goal from the 4.5.
Oh.
They want the fade to Toddle.
Nope.
Tries to toe drag Swaggart, but he was a good half yard out the back of the end zone there. Incomplete.
Total had good body position there as well on Evans. Just the ball was just a little bit overthrown. Otherwise, you know, he was in the right position. Very well run route.
A change of backs here. Wood.
Oh, here we go.
Will come in to partner Dix. Big Dean Latumahina, who's coming back after a week off after being involved in a car crash accident, which led him with significant whiplash. So I saw on Thursday's practice. I said, are you all good for me now? I was like, definitely not. I'm good enough to play.
I smell a screenplay here, Kenny.
Well, let's see if that's what's cooking. Otherwise, Max Williams in the left slot. Speed option right. Wood with plenty of space, looking for the pylon. Rhinos, touchdown.
Great play call there and excellent execution. Dix using his speed and athleticism to get to the edge there. Good discipline by Wood to maintain his distance. Draws in the outside defender, and then it's a foot race to the corner. So great play design, great personnel switch there. Very, very great call there by the Rhinos coaching staff.
And there you just see the speed on display there from Riley, not Riley Dix, I apologise, Riley Wood. Two Rileys on this team, both in the backfield on that play, both participating on that 6-pointer. Fenwick, who was wide right on his first PAT attempt, back here to try and turn this into a 7-point lead. Apologies, 6-point lead. Fenwick's kick is up, and it's corrected.
Good.
Rhinos will lead the Stingrays here in the third quarter by the score of 13 points to 7.
Now, no, it's only the third quarter here, Kenny, but obviously we score there, the Rhinos score there to get the 6. Go for 1 to make it 13. So they're up by 6. Would you go for 2 there to try and make it a 7-point game?
Well, considering how they've been so keen on keeping the special teams off the field and going for it on 4th down inside the red zone here, I'm a little surprised they didn't, quite frankly. Ultimately, it could be academic, but yes, with the score right now being so close, I'm a little surprised they didn't, but perhaps that is a sign of the confidence of Coach Samuel Harkness, who believes his offense is about to unleash here in the final 2 quarters.
And that could be it, Kenny. I mean, they have moved the ball very, very well, as we've already alluded to a number of times in the coverage tonight about that red zone visits and the lack of points. So, hey, you know what? If you have faith in your team, you expect them to get down there again but to convert. So, you know what? Maybe you're not concerned by it.
Rhinos, who always kick off the left hash, sends Fenwick back out there. Another boomer from the young man, and he will not give Christian Denton an opportunity to return this ball. And back out comes the 2020 Junior Sunbowl MVP and quarterback, as I've talked about all night long, Noah Hull.
Just got to make a mention there, Kenny. I know we play on a slightly shorter field due to being on rugby league fields and not being quite the full 120 yards. We're 10 yards shorter here, but even still, those kickoffs are outstanding. The height and distance he's getting on, Fenwick's getting on those is impressive.
And I still don't think he's putting everything behind that.
Oh, no.
There, so
They look like chip shots.
even if he had the 10 yards in there in the middle of the field, that's landing right at the mouth of the goal line. And here comes Gab Salvo, who's made a big return following what we thought was a really big injury there in the first quarter.
Yeah, definitely no rust there from time on the bench for Salvo. Great run and good explosion off the ball there by the offensive line to get that run blocking happening again.
I'm not going to say I'm relieved, but I am a little surprised to see Gab Salvo back out there. I was led to believe it was a pretty significant injury sustained in the first quarter, but if he is okay, I'm absolutely glad to hear it. First down and 10. Hull with Gab Salvo, and he'll find plenty of space. Wonderful work by the O-line and complimentary work there from Gab Salvo.
That's a run. That was impressive. Great work there at right tackle.
79.
79. I think that's, no, that is Matthew Henry. Another young talent the Stingrays have got that is being looked at to potentially go overseas in the future. Outstanding block there to open a massive, massive hole. That was big enough, Kenny. You and I could have ran through it.
And that needs to be a big hole for that to happen. First down and 10. Hull playing with a bit of pep in his step now, as is Gab Salvo. This offensive line is out to eat here on this drive.
Absolutely rolling. This is what you like to see, Kenny.
Well, this is a stark contrast to their opening drive, which was a 3-and-out with a punt on the back end of it now. But this offensive line, you claim they looked a bit sluggish out of that lightning delay. It looks like the beasts might have woken from their slumber.
I think Coach Tongakulo's probably had a word or two.
Or 3 or 4.
And probably ones we can't stay on air.
Probably not. First down and 10. Ball now quickly at the Rhinos 26. Here goes Gab Salvo trying to get to the outside, and finally a bit of retaliation here from the Brisbane Rhinos defense. Making the tackle there is Will Saxby, who's getting some reps now after being removed from the middle linebacker position during training. Great
read and react there by Saxby. Gets off a block and just makes a brilliant one-on-one solo tackle against a very, very powerful runner.
What the good news is about Saxby, he started the season at Mike, and obviously now with the addition of this new young fella who looks promising in Xavier Savolino, it allows Saxby to move to the outside, which I'm led to believe is probably closer to his more natural position here, being able to read and react. So here, speaking of which, here comes the guy who took his spot at Mike, and you can see why after that play. That is the new fella, the new kid on the block, Xavier Savolino.
And is he excited? I'm glad we don't have sideline mics there, but he was pumped up after that play, and rightfully so. Timed his blitz to perfection, blew it up in the backfield.
Here's the story, Xavier Savolino. Coach Harkness, he came down to training, Xavier did. Coach Harkness said, here, look, we're just going to see how your instincts look like, and have lined up against experienced lineman Ryan Glasson and said, see what you can do against this. His automatic reaction was to rip past Ryan Glasson and make the tackle in the open field. They said, I think we've got a footballer on our hands.
Absolutely.
So there he is, right now using a Spartans helmet just due to a bit of delay in gear here and by the Rhinos. But here they go, a pass now completed to Matthew Major, who was one of the standouts in week 1, getting his first reception of the night here despite the despite the number of targets he's received so far. And that will be 4th down now, and after a heated start here from the Gold Coast Stingrays on this drive, how the turntables, to quote The Office, the Rhinos defense has stiffened up real quick.
Rhinos defense, absolutely. Those last couple of plays have got their tails up. A lot of momentum on their side. That was a great play there by Ashton Mullis as well on that coverage.
Sam Bull is out covering that 3 wide receiver set here. Noah Hull looking downfield, directing traffic, wanting the end zone, looking for Major. Major had it and lost it. Would have been a wonderful catch made of highlight material, but alas, it is a 4th down, failed conversion, and a big stand by this home defense.
Great ball there. Absolutely fantastic ball there by Hull. Puts it in a great position, and Major just can't quite pull that in. Again, great ball position, great reach, just, heartbreaking to see that slip through his hands. For those at home and who aren't in the southeast corner, it is very, very humid here tonight, so there's a lot of moisture around.
So he couldn't bring that in, and I thought Major was going to make the most of his opportunities there, and that is going to be a huge confidence boost for this Rhinos team here, playing on home turf for the first time this evening, and that there very well could be the deciding play that could separate the rest of this half.
Could be.
That is a huge confidence booster and a bit of a deflator here for this Gold Coast Stingrays offense. That was humming. Here goes Riley Dix, who will stiff arm his way there to his own 31-yard line, it appears. Flat penalty mark is down, though, back on the Rhinos 27, or is that one being picked up? That it is. So no flag on the play. A nice run there on first down by Riley Dix.
Yeah, good play fake there to the running back. Sold it extremely well, which sucked the Stingrays defense in, and then was able to get out to the edge and make a nice play there.
So Wood now, who scored a touchdown on the last drive. I think that might have been his first touchdown of the season. They've got 2nd and 4 now. Dix pulls it in to throw. Ooh. Looking for Shanks. Was a little behind him there, incomplete. 3rd down conversion here for the Brisbane Rhinos.
We'll have a look there. Right play call. Shanks had separation there, although it looked like it was within triple coverage. There was actually a decent gap there. If that was completed, I think Shanks was gone. So don't be surprised if they go back to that same play again down the path, if not maybe even right here.
Well, with Napier vacating quarterback, he's being used on defense now. Now here he is as a safety partner to Jamal Sinapati. So the two captains are defending the 3rd level of defense here. Riley Dix with the fake pitch, then the full pitch, and then a tackle from his own player. Wood fumbles this safely out of bounds. Frankie Tinalau tackling his own defender on that last play. His own running back, I should say. But how about the bravery and trickery from Riley Dix?
Wow. Riley Dix has put on a show tonight. See there, runs a speed option, late pitch, just threads it through a couple of defenders, and then Wood gets jacked up by his own lineman. God. Now, did that go on the sheet as a forced fumble?
Oh, it goes under something, but Frankie Tinalau there was trying to get the block on Napier, who was a bit quick for him, and unfortunately cutting back there was Riley Wood, who will be called upon to run again on this drive. Shakes the first defender, showing plenty of evasiveness here tonight. Riley Wood, the backfield of Riley and Riley, looking Riley good right now.
Christian Denton had a great angle on that play. Probably slightly over pursued it, but Wood made a fantastic move, putting a step on him and getting the extra yardage, making him miss the tackle. That was impressive from both athletes there, to be honest.
Well, both offenses proving to move down the field with ease on each other, and Riley Dix, I think that might have been some sort of RPO, and I'm trying to see how far downfield the offensive linemen were. I'm seeing Josh Koo, and
I thought they were looks like they were running 40s Kenny though. A long way downfield.
I mean, just based on where they finished that play there, I think Caleb Williams and Joshy Koo were a little far downfield there.
I think there was more linemen downfield than behind the line, so just waiting for the call from the referee here, but I think it's academic. Ryan Glasson probably trying to argue the point. I'm sorry to tell you, mate. There's probably, you watch this one back on film and realise that there's probably not much to argue. Okay, so it looks like, yes, it was an eligible man downfield against the Rhinos, so we'll be backing this one up.
And a couple of, they're getting a healthy rotation here on the offensive line, as I aforementioned. He might have been penalised on that play, but in on the field at the moment, number 69, Caleb Williams-Lee in at right guard. Dix with a good pocket initially, has time to set and throw, finds Shanks.
Wow.
Shanks, who's been targeted a number of times tonight, has managed to produce some PIs this time, finally gets his hands on the ball and gets his Rhinos offense a first down.
Yeah, great patience shown here by Dix. Has a nice pocket. I don't know how that happens. How do you call to Shanks, someone as dangerous as him, get as wide open as that? You cannot get away with that too often in this league.
I could be wrong there, but it looked like some sort of flood concept out to the right there. Testing the zone defense here from the Gold Coast Stingrays. But wonderful protection by this offensive line to allow that throw from Dix to Shanks for the first down. Here they are, first down on the Stingrays 30.
Whoa.
Looking downfield again, but it's caught by Napier. The quarterback turned defensive back is going down the right-hand side of the field and eventually will be tackled by Frankie Tinalau, who actually makes a tackle this time on an opposition player. But a big play from this Stingrays defense.
That was a massive tackle. That looked like something from the WWE. That was a great play there by Napier. Great awareness. Ball a little bit underthrown there. The ball needs to be out in front and higher. That was well out inside the field and dropped quickly. Napier right in it. And have a look at that tackle. That is impressive.
Just that tackle alone is making Napier wondering if he was
a
little safer back at quarterback.
Back at quarterback, I think.
And it'll be interesting to see if Napier actually takes some time at receiver, because he plays all across the team, does Napier, but he did start his career at wide receiver. I think we might have had a false start on that play. This pass was intended to major, but it will fall well short. Flag down on the Rhinos 40.
I tend to agree with that, Kenny. I'm surprised we haven't seen Dylan Napier out at wide receiver. I would have thought with Noah Hull in at quarterback, the natural reaction response would be to rotate such an experienced and dangerous receiver like Napier out into the wideout spot.
Well, I can only imagine that starting safety Blake Hatchman, who we saw have trouble with cramp in the first half, could be missing in action, and naturally they feel the best fit for him right now would be to contributing at safety, which he has played so much of over the past 2 seasons.
Interesting call. So we had an illegal formation there on the Stingrays. Now the Rhinos have declined to take that penalty to bring up 2nd and 10 as opposed to a 1st and 15.
Well, they consider the downs more important here, and there's something that Sam Harkness is not shy of in his first year as head coach. It is confidence.
Yeah. And
2nd down and 10 following that declined penalty here against the Stingrays. Gab Salvo abuses decoy. Noah Hull will try to run his way forward. And Nate Ashton Miles will come in with a big hit that will knock Noah Hull over the sideline.
It's a man's name that we've called a couple of times this second half. He's certainly having a good day out here. We see Noah Hull here was already in a bit of trouble there, and then Ashton Miles comes in and cleans up on the sideline there.
Another rotation on the D-line here for the Brisbane Rhinos. Coming off the field, Michael Volkanovski, the rugby league convert who knows Don Duncan Oval very well during his time as a West Brisbane Panther. He's replaced by Molly. Hull looking left and throwing downfield. Had Tesfa Gabir open. Cheyenne James would have been there late to cover, but the pass falls incomplete, and here we'll have another 4th down situation, and I think the punt team is coming on the field.
We just see on that play there, Kenny, Noah Hull makes the right read. He has the receiver, has a step, has separation. The ball just drops a bit forward, and the reason we're seeing that is he's feeling a little bit of pressure, even though he's getting decent protection there. He's just not having the confidence to step into his passes. He's throwing very much off the back foot, which is seeing why we're seeing those balls where he's throwing to the right place, but the ball's sort of dropping out of the sky and falling short.
So, James Hobby back into punt. A late substitution there from the Rhinos. Happens just in time. Bit of a pooch punt here. Looking for a friendly bounce. And they'll have to come this back to where 52 did initially touch it. You can't illegally advance a punt if you are on the kicking team there. So they should come back to around the Rhinos 20, I would have to imagine, right? They're currently talking to the sideline official and Andrew Stock, and no one seems to be too upset. So,
all right, in that case, probably a decent outcome there for Hobby.
I'm just trying to see where they line. Well, it's almost like they've just split the difference here, because they've aligned the ball here at
the 11.
The 11. I'm just going to leave that to it is what it is, and both teams seem to be happy. So play ball.
It's one of those things, Kenny, with special teams, particularly around the punt rules and stuff like that. They're one of those areas that not a lot of people have a great grasp of.
I'm almost rooting, however, for the Stingrays to come up with a midfield stop here, because the punting by Fenwick last week was absolutely
Impressive.
fantastic and
Yeah.
actually brought to light something that I haven't seen used before. As what a tackle! No, he kept the ball. He's fooled the cameraman. He's fooled us. He almost fooled most of the Stingrays' defense there, but Dean Latumahina taking one for the team on that play as Riley Dix pulled the ball away and picked up a few yards.
Riley Dix sells that fake so well, even to the point of, as he pulls away from it, he's sort of just dawdling, as if he doesn't have the ball, the play's over, and then takes off. Absolutely sold that brilliantly. Probably wouldn't try it too many times, though, because if you start dawdling like that, you're going to get lit up. Can we say that?
Sam, that's not a Togafu who's well and truly known for his physicality. Franz now used as the decoy, and the pass over the middle intended for Max Williams safely falls to the Duncan Field turf.
I like the end of that play there, Kenny. Both Jamal Senapati and Dylan Napier look at each other as if it could have been intercepted, and Jamal points at, there's a flag on the play, it doesn't matter.
Flag down on the Rhinos 23. Towards the back end of the third quarter, the score, Rhinos leading the Stingrays 13-7. We again.
Looks like it was might have been offside, Kenny.
Well, it's 5 yards and a fresh set here for the Brisbane Rhinos. Once again, the penalty markers definitely hurting the Gold Coast Stingrays. Franz now with the carry, and good job at getting forward there. We'll pick up maybe about 6 to 7 at the end of that run. I think it'll be closer to 6 based on where sideline official Andrew Stock is at the moment.
Yeah, good run there. Great way to keep the legs churning. Dives forward for the extra yards.
And for those who might be new to the game, wondering why Franz couldn't just get up and keep running there. Once you've been affected by a defender and any part of your body that isn't the soles of your feet or the palms of your hands touches the turf, you are considered tackled. Second down, and actually closer to 8 yards on that carry. Only 2 here to go here. They'll give to Franz. Franz finds himself a first down and falls forward for another healthy gain on the ground.
Well, with that, Kenny, in terms of, I think under the IFAF rules we play with here, it's not actually, you don't have to be contacted by a defender. If any parts of your body other than your hand or feet hits the ground, you're actually considered down under IFAF and NCAA rules.
You're exactly right. You've got to remember, I'm not watching the NFL. So, yes, tripping, falling over in this sport, not great for you. And I think this is going to be the end of the third quarter. Felt like the longest of the quarters we've had so far this evening. And I'll use this change of quarter to once again thank our sponsors, starting with Resistant Sports Science in Inogra, performance and rehab partner of the Brisbane Rhinos, followed by OzMV, Brisbane, Australia's distributor for American pickup trucks and muscle cars. iSponsor, aiming to remove the difficulty of connecting businesses big and small to sponsor your organisation. The Sporting Globe at Chermside, open 7 days a week. Your award-winning sports bar is the home of sport in Brisbane. And for the Gold Coast Stingrays, Academy 49, run by Gold Coast's very own Lance Tongakilo, for all of your gridiron fundamental growth and development. Fourth quarter action just about to be ahead of us here. Kenny Andres, Adam Bolton, start of the fourth here, mate. What's the story?
Look, very close game, very low scoring, which I think both surprises both of us. We thought maybe it'd be low scoring if there was a lot of rain, which we've touched wood. We haven't had any rain here, even though we had a lightning delay. So, yeah, very, very competitive game.
Nothing but a light shower in pre-game. Otherwise, a dry night. A bit of the humidity is dropping out here. It's actually dropping a degree or two, which is welcome. Dix with plenty of time. Wanted Williams. I think that pass might have been tipped at the line of scrimmage. I think one of those D linemen might have got their big paws in the way. And it's worth noting the defensive line for the Gold Coast Stingrays. A couple of these guys who have usually been linebackers and edge players and in former teams and leagues. One of those guys, Nata Togafu, exiting the team now, been asked to step onto the line and stick a hand in the dirt for this D-line due to just a lack of numbers at D-line for the Gold Coast Stingrays. Lance was talking to me last night and said the collection of Louis Barisi, number 90 there as well, number 80, sorry, and Lance Tonga, not a Togufu, my apologies. And Sam Matautia came at a welcome time a couple weeks out from the start of the season to help them sort of shore up that void in their defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only has it added some much-needed numbers to that defensive line unit, which, as you mentioned, Kenny, was very, very thin in terms of numbers. But, yeah, adds some great experience and some explosive athletes down there as well, which, although, you know, compared to what you're used to for defensive lines, at least at this level, you know, they're probably a little bit, you'd probably say, undersized, but they make up for more than that with their athleticism. So, so far, in the couple of games we've seen of them this year, I've been very impressed with how those guys have played.
And coming out of this quarter break, it was quite long there. We didn't get a timeout on the back end of that, did we?
Must have done. That was a very long quarter break.
And we do probably want to get on top of the timeouts if the score remains to be only a possession away. That could very much come in handy here. 2nd down and 10. Riley Dix in the backfield with Angus Franz. Near side wide receiver there is Lachlan Taylor. 3 receivers out to the left.
Ooh.
Under pressure early, doesn't see it coming. Ball is down and will be recovered by Franz. Little did the Stingrays know Tristan Bourgeois had the ball at his feet for a number of seconds there. Could have gotten the possession back for his offense, but nevertheless, a huge hit on the play there. But not a Togufu. Oh, sorry, no, apologies, Sam Matautia. Or is that Louis Breezy?
No, Louis Breezy, I think.
Run through the gauntlet of them.
Hey, it was one of them, but it was an incredible play. Again, showing that burst and that athleticism off the edge we literally just talked about. And that was a massive hit, massive play, and now brings up a big 3rd and probably double sticks here.
So backfield remains the same, called the Shanks in motion. We've seen this once so far this evening. They want to go deep. They want to go to Taylor. 13 wanted it, but the other 13 prevented it. Jamal Sinapati with a big deflection on that play.
Don't think Jamal realised that it was only 3rd down. He knocked it down like it was 4th down.
Yeah, and even stayed up
intercepted it
on the commentary booth. I think he failed to understand what down it was as well.
If Big Brother's watching this on the other side of the world, Elijah, he would be fairly upset by that.
Probably even his old man.
His dad as well.
And Ben, or Mailey Sinapati, former Gridiron Queensland president. Also on my resume as a referee. Appreciate you, Ben. 4th down and very long. So Fenwick, who we've actually been dying to see punt the football, will come in here and probably won't be in position for one of his booming kicks here. It's a decent one there. I thought he would probably try to drive it a little further downfield, but nevertheless, I don't think you're going to be upset with a field position flipper like that.
Off the boot, that sounded fantastic, but looks like he may have shanked it a little bit or just didn't quite get kicked through the ball. Not a bad starting position here for the Stingrays as they take over here early in the 4th quarter. Down by 6. So you'd think at this point the Rays are going to start to open up the playbook a little bit. They've moved the ball fairly well this second half. The offensive line has certainly played better. So right now is the point where you start to, okay, now what do we need to do? What have we seen so far that we can open up the playbook? So 1st and 10 here. Whole hands off to Salvo, and he is tripped up at about the 32. Gain of about 3 yards. Should bring up 2nd and 7 here. Salvo with a nice cut there, but just lost his footing. And as we mentioned before, you hit the deck, trip over, whatever, that is you're considered down, and that's the end of the play.
2nd down and 10. Oh, sorry, 2nd down and 6. My apologies. There'll be a give to Salvo, who jukes his way out of the backfield, but here come the Rhinos defense. They'll take him down before it does too much damage there.
Good discipline and pursuit there from the Rhinos defense. Salvo certainly looked dangerous there and tried to bounce that outside. Had a little bit of pursuit, but then had help coming down over the top to bring him down, bringing up a 3rd and about 5.
3rd and 5 here, Noah Hull. Tested once again. We're just about to get an update on the timeout situation from both teams. Thanks to Graham Spur, sideline helper on the sideline. Goes without saying. Noah Hull on third down, looking outside for Tesfa Gaber. Trying to see if he's got ball in hand there. It's incomplete. And Nate Ashton Miles laying the lumber on that third down pass. And that will send the punters back out here for the Gold Coast Stingrays.
Yeah, great coverage on that play. Great hit as well to affect that incompletion. Big third down there. So now to end that drive, that's going to give the Rhinos the ball back. And with a 6-point lead, you would imagine that this next drive we will see the Rhinos certainly trying to control the clock and run the football quite a bit.
Fourth down. Hobby. Couple of punts this evening. Both punting units, albeit only one from the Rhinos, have avoided any shockers until right now. Penalty markers down, but it's a good punt here from Hobby, and he'll get that just outside the Rhinos 20. Let's see.
I think you're going to find it's an illegal formation, Kenny. There, it looks like there was the curve on the line was very pronounced on the Stingray side. Suggests too many men in the backfield, not enough on the line, whatever you want to call it. It's illegal formation anyway.
So what we should emphasise there for newer viewers of the sport.
There we go. Illegal formation
is as called by my co-caller and analyst Adam Bolton. Each offensive play, and that includes the special teams units, has to have a certain amount of players, what we call on the line of scrimmage, where the ball is placed. And having too many or too little results in a 5-yard penalty. The Rhinos in this instance can choose to take the spot of the ball, or they can choose to opt for a re-punt, which, as I've mentioned in previous calls with kickoffs and any part of their kicking game, teams with talented returners will opt to do this. So they've moved the Stingrays back 5 yards and have told them to kick it again. Hobby, punting well tonight, fields this one nicely, waits for his kick here, sends us high rather than long, but prevents a return here, and picks up at the the Rhinos 29 here. So effectively, that penalty is all the difference in that punt.
So, sorry, we're just laughing at the viewers at home who may not be aware of the rules. On the punt, the ball is actually live once it touches the receiving team player. So because that kick was so high, the Rhino sideline was calling out poison, which meant for their players to get away from the area so the ball didn't bounce and hit them. And not many of them heard it, and it landed in between 3 Rhinos and bounced, and there was a collective sigh of relief on their sideline when it went straight up and was stopped by the Stingrays.
Exactly right. If you're not going to return it, you want all of the receiving team to get away from it.
Get away from it.
Hence the term poison, Peter, pepper, a whole bunch of different names. Weirdly alliterated with the word P, but final receiver joins the unit here, albeit late. I think that's going to be an illegal substitution. Riley Dix will try to get some yardage, and he is absolutely clipped by Louis Barisi here, and in today's day and age, I don't think that's going to fly.
No, there's a couple of flags in late there, and it sounds like that might be a targeting penalty. That was hard to watch.
Not hit the head of an offensive player, and it doesn't get more hitting the head than that.
That was helmet to helmet. That's tough to watch.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one.
There's a lot of penalties on the flag. I think we've got illegal substitutions. We've got a targeting. If it's a targeting, that'll be an ejection. There's a lot to be discussed here. And obviously, our thoughts are here with Riley Dix and hope that he's okay.
Yeah, right now he's... Firstly, it appears that he's conscious, which is
So he's sitting up now, which is good.
But jeez. Oof. That was not a pretty one, and I think you and I might be a little surprised here if number 90, Louis Barisi, stays in the field. Riley Dix is up now. He's giving his sideline the thumbs up.
He's up. He's walking off. I'm not sure that we'll see him again tonight, but hey, he'll get assessed, and if he's deemed okay to come back, he will.
Well,
meanwhile, the referees are having a good chat about all the laundry on the field.
This will be a lengthy chat at the laundromat, as we have plenty of flags on the field here right now. But right now, what I've been told is correct. Last week we saw Calder Shanks come in as QB3 when necessary, or the backup quarterback when necessary, but at practice they had Toshak taking some snaps in one-on-ones with the receivers against DBs. So that will be the two options here. Calder Shanks, of course, with a bit of history at quarterback at his Sunny Coast days. But Toshak was taking the third-string throwing duties. So we'll soon see which offense they send out following Riley Dix's exodus.
Guys, it looks like it was targeted.
Louis Barisi will be ejected from this game following his hit on Riley Dix, which is huge for both teams. Louis Barisi exits the game, and he's been absolutely one of the best defensive players, certainly this second half for the Gold Coast Stingrays. His ill discipline will see him off the field, but it's come at the cost for the Rhinos for starting quarterback Riley Dix, who's already replaced Mitch Bradford, who's not set to return until next week. In the meantime, that is Sam Bull, and this shouldn't be a surprise either, as Dean Latumahina gets the handoff and rumbles his way for a first down. But as Sam Bull, which isn't a surprise, we're talking about players with quarterback in their history. He was the Cairns Falcons quarterback up there playing in the North Queensland division.
Oh, okay, that makes some sense then.
So whilst he's been starting strong side backer, or the star position here for the Brisbane Rhinos, obviously they're going to fall back on his experience taking snaps for, I believe, the Cairns Falcons. That's what I've been told.
Oh.
And they wanted to hand this off to Latumahina again, but this play is blown dead.
I think we had a false start here, Kenny. It seemed the right tackle jumped early. But would make sense if Bull's got that starting experience playing up in Cairns, that he then comes in and takes over from Riley Dix, who's just being checked out by the physio down in front of us at the moment, but has had all of his teammates from the sideline come past and check on him, high-five him, etc. like that, which is great to see.
I'm just trying to double-check, because whilst I was told Cairns Falcons, I've got a sinking suspicion that it might actually be the Townsville Cyclones.
Oh.
And this snap is high, and Bull manages to pick it up and will do the best of what he is given. Too much pressure in his face following that snap, though, and a bit of rhythm and a bit of chemistry out the window here as there is a change of quarterback.
Not the end of the world there in terms of, we see wild snaps like that, Kenny, and they can often end quite badly for the offense. So the fact that he's been able to pull that in and keep possession of the ball, brings up second at about 20, but at least it keeps the clock running, and it looks like the Rhinos are in no hurry to come out of the huddle or to get the next play off as they come out in 2x2. It's second and 20.
Second down and a long, long way to go. Bull hands off to Latumahina, who'll get chopped down at the Rhinos 36, and late flags as this game begins to get a bit chippy.
That's just undisciplined, Kenny. I know you said this was getting a bit chippy in this and whatever else.
As we just play this
here,
forward, we're going to see.
So he's getting blocked. Yeah, okay, I guess tackled to the ground. Okay, sure, maybe a hold. But then to shove his head down in the ground. Particularly in a situation like Kenny, where you've now got them in a situation where it's going to be third and long. But now if you're giving away a 15-yard penalty, well, that's an automatic first down, and that helps the Rhinos with their ball control and to continue to run the clock.
Just trying to see what the actual penalty is. It on Scott Bice pushing off
the head,
two veterans there, Ryan Glasson and Scott Bice. And getting involved in some extracurricular activity, and once again,
there's another centre who likes to play right through to the whistle. We talked about Ryan Newton, we talked about Matt Ole, and now... And
I feel odd that I haven't called out Ryan Newton's name today. I know he's kitted up, but perhaps he's...
Yeah, he's starting at centre, but he hasn't upset anyone today.
Yes, which is unusual. Are you okay? Are you okay, Ryan?
It won't take long. Well, it's fourth quarter. I'm sure we've got time.
I feel like I need to check in on him, and he hasn't been pushing the envelope.
I'm sure he'll hear this, Kenny, and he'll make up for it next week.
First down and 10. So, buoyed again by penalties, the Rhinos offense advance into Stingray territory. Latu Mahina, who's been a workhorse here in this fourth quarter. He pushes forward for a couple of yards here. They had them on third down on what would have been forever. And now they're staring down at second down and 6.
And time starts to become a factor here, Kenny, particularly obviously for the Stingrays. So at what point do you start using your timeouts to try and preserve the clock? That's second and about 6 here.
Here on second down, Bull will call for the snap, hand off to Franz.
Ooh.
And Franz refuses to go down with the first hit. And maybe a gain of a yard out of that second down run. It'll be 3rd and 5.
And again, Kenny, I mean, only a 1 yard gain there, if that. So we're still looking at 3rd and 5. But the key thing here for the Rhinos is it does keep the clock running, which when you lead by 6. And I think I've just heard the call from the Rhino sideline to get the field goal unit ready, Kenny.
Stop it.
Would not read about it.
Stop it. And Sam Ball, the former Cairns Falcons quarterback. He'll hand off to Franz. Franz looking for a bit of that space on the outside. That gave him a bit of joy in the first half. Doesn't quite find it, but they do advance the ball a few more yards here. And is this what they consider?
Very close, Kenny. Where's the spot?
Oh, I lost vision of the ball there, but it looks like he stretched that ball out a fair bit. They're going to be a half a yard short, and Coach Sam Harkness for the Brisbane Rhinos will now have a decision to make, and he'll use his second time out of the half to think about it.
Oh, he will go for it here, Kenny, I think. As you said, he's not a man who's afraid to take a chance and put faith in his players. The special teams, the kicking unit is on the sideline.
Well, I would argue, kicking the field goal in this instance would certainly also be another display of showing faith in your players.
Well, yeah, it does too.
And that would make it a 2-possession game with the minutes dying here in the fourth quarter.
Looks like some key substitutions here, Kenny. Looks like they're bringing in a fairly large package here. So I reckon they're going to go for this on 4th and... now looking at the markers. So it's about 1 yard that they've got to get here. So it looks like Coach Harkness is going to go for this.
They've got a full yard here on 4th down. To go here, and they've made one more late substitution. A big Dean Latu Mahina will be in there. So for the first time this evening, depending on where Dean lines up, we'll be sending all 3 backs on the field. Dean will line up at tight end. At tight end in this offense that claims to have no tight ends. They'll hand this off. Sam Ball will get this. Sam Ball will run for a first down.
Great play call there. Great run by Bull. Gets the first down and keeps the clock running. That is key. Whipping
out a play that we have not seen before out of this Brisbane Rhinos offense here in 2021. They went to the triple option that time. And Sam Bull, the man from the north, delivering.
There's a little bit of a high snap there too, so he did well to pull that in. As it looks like we have a player down for the Stingrays. It is Cody Bevan, the young middle linebacker that we mentioned earlier. So it looks like he may be an ankle or a cramp. We can't quite make it out from here. But that gives both teams a chance to come to the sidelines and regroup a little.
Dare I say, we've obviously some wonderful displays of point scoring throughout the first 3 weeks of the Gridiron Queensland season. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy those games, but isn't it wonderful to have a competitive down to the fourth quarter game here on broadcast for the first time this season?
It's great, Kenny, and I've just had a message come through from Gerard Fitzpatrick, the Vice President of the Bayside Ravens, with a score update from their game against the Spartans, or you get it. And the final score there was Ravens 42, Raptors 6.
So fair to say the reigning champs well and truly hold pole position in Gridiron Queensland in the men's division.
Gee, they look hard to beat, don't they, Kenny?
Don't they just? And Bevan will be walked off to the tent here towards the...
Oh, that looks like a wrist.
Home sideline here, and he'll get some immediate medical attention here. So they lose a key player in defense tonight so far. First down They're going to need another big play here. Nada Togafu forced the fumble towards the start of this drive. They could really do with another one of those.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Need to get a turnover.
First down and 10 following Bull converting on 4th down. They'll go back to 2 backs in the backfield. Franz completely untouched for 10 yards. The defense absolutely bamboozled on this play. This new triple option package is proving to be troublesome over just the 2 plays we have as a sample so far.
Well, I have to suggest there, Kenny, with Bevan going off with that wrist or arm injury, the change of personnel in that linebacking core is what's led to that blown assignment or the missed gap there, which has led to that wide open lane that he had.
Well, now the Rhinos, who had double sticks not too long ago, have a 1st and goal. The give is to Franz again, who continues to break tackles. All 3 of the backs this evening have proved some way, shape, or form of the ability to make people miss, whether it's the big rumbling, stumbling Dean Latumahina or the more shiftiness shown by Wood and Franz.
Well, it was a question tonight, wasn't it, coming in about how the Rhinos' run game would go. I mean, obviously, one, you've got a new quarterback in there, but then also with injuries to the running back stable, it was a big question about how this offense was going to go moving the ball on the ground. And I think tonight it's shown they've got a pretty deep running back room there.
Well, I questioned Sam Harkness personally and said when you've got a weapon like Calder Shanks at your disposal there, who I know is serving a purpose out wide and certainly attracting a lot of attention. He's sitting around 93 kilos now, I'm told, and that's running back weight. Why not try to get him that way? Well, he's probably shown tonight that he feels like he's got the depth in the backfield as is. But the man in question, Calder Shanks, going in motion, now into the backfield. Now they might pitch to him. Sam Bull instead pulls it forward, pulls it in, and travels forward, I should say. And this will be 3rd down and goal following a loss of a yard on that last carry.
I think we've already alluded to it, Kenny, but Coach Harkness definitely doesn't lack any confidence in his players and the weapons he's got. Pre-game, I asked him whether or not, with obviously Bradford out and a few other missing personnel, would we see James feature in any offense packages today? And he's made it very clear, no intentions on doing that, and planned to leave him on special teams and on defense.
Well, right now the troops are proving him correct. 3rd down here, and we'll ask the question, will they go for a field goal should this come up short? Bull with the option. Bull taken down. Rugby League pitches it out to Wood.
Wow.
That question will be moot. They score on 3rd down and goal. The 2nd touchdown of the evening, and quite frankly, and quite possibly the dagger here by Riley Wood.
Wow, that was great awareness there by Bull. Didn't give up on the play, even though he was, in the process of getting cut down. Gets that pitch off to Wood, and Wood just uses his elusiveness to make a tackler miss and get into the end zone for what could well be the sealer.
19-7. They'll line up for a PAT here to make it 20. Make that a full 14 points that the Stingrays would have to chase in these dying minutes. Fenwick, 1 from 2 on PATs this evening. Adam Cole with a hold. Glasson with the long snap. Snap's good. Kick is up and kick is through. Your score now late in the 4th quarter. Rhinos 20 ahead of the Gold Coast Stingrays 7.
Big challenge now for the Stingrays coming late in this game, Kenny. Obviously now down 2 scores. Where are the explosive plays or the big plays going to come from in order to try and get those 2 scores back in a very, very fast fashion? Going to be some big questions asked of Noah Hull and the offense.
So not the ideal situation as a rookie quarterback here in the senior division. And whilst he has shown a proficiency to pass, particularly in his junior days, probably, I think it's fair to say, he doesn't have the strongest arm. So I wouldn't be expecting any sort of Aaron Rodgers efforts out of him pushing that ball, 45, 50, 55 yards downfield here. They'll need to find a way to make people miss.
Just a little bit of organised chaos here, Kenny, on the kickoff.
Eventually they look sorted here. Back to return is Salvo and Denton for the Gold Coast Stingrays. Fenwick has kicked nothing but touchbacks so far this evening. Looks to make that trend continue as the officials are waiting on something. Hang on. Have we got enough people on the field? 1, 2, 3,
no,
4.
They've got too many people on the wrong side of the kicker, I think.
1, 2. The kicker is Fenwick.
Oh, no, you're right. They didn't have enough people on the field.
They'll just condense because they are kicking off the left-hand hash here, and they'll kick to Gab Salvo, who wants to try and make something happen for his team. And Franz is there on the tackle. Been doing plenty of work carrying the ball that time. Adds to his stat sheet with a special teams tackle. Very little time here in the fourth. I don't have an official time, unfortunately, to report to you. But currently, 2 scores is the deficit.
It was a good return there from Salvo. Almost had a seam there, which would have been ideal in terms of either field position or potentially getting one of those scores back. Now let's see what the Stingrays bring on 1st and 10.
And look who's back at quarterback. It's Dylan Napier. Play action pass and wanted the screen to Matt Major. And that pass is too short of him. Falls incomplete. 2nd down and 10.
Screen developed quite well there, actually, in terms of he had the blockers in front of him, and the defense seemed like they were a little bit slow to react to it. But yeah, unfortunately, the ball was just a little bit short for him.
And you have to imagine that's probably the way they're going to have to move downfield with big chunks.
Yeah.
As I said, neither Napier or Hull recognize deep throw specialists. So screens, quick passes where you can maybe break a quick tackle. That's going to be the main pieces on the menu here late in this game. They'll dump pass here to Salvo. Can't connect. Good pressure on the play there by Malachi Relton Stewart.
Yeah, great pressure there from Melton Stewart. It's also going to be very difficult for the Rays to take shots downfield as well, because obviously given the score and the time situation, the Rhinos defense are going to be sitting back and willing to give that underneath stuff and not give up the big plays and the quick scores. So again, makes the play calling here really, really difficult for the Stingrays.
3rd down and 10. Napier in the backfield with Salvo. 2 short options, 3 in fact, and he'll connect there with Riku Hataya, I believe. And that was a 4th down play. Check that, it was a 3rd down. They flipped it a bit earlier there. Now we have a 4th down play, and it'll be 4th and 4, and you'd have to imagine the game or the comeback chances on the line.
We just mentioned before we hadn't called Ryan Newton's name, and then he was in late on that play to give a little bit of attention to the Rhinos defense.
Prior to that last play, the official time on the clock was 4 minutes and 3 seconds. So inside 4 minutes we go. A little bit of time on the clock. There is enough for this to make it happen. I don't think the Stingrays have used any of their timeouts.
Oh.
Napier with a quarterback draw on 4th down, and he gets just enough to convert.
Smart play there. Takes the slide and lives another day.
Well, you get a little worried when in a situation like that with big, taller quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Because it goes from where, as I said, any part that is not the soles of your feet or the palms of your hands touches the ground. So if you're a tall quarterback, that ball's a fair way behind you when you slide. The awareness, though, in Napier to get past the line before sliding, quite impressive. Napier again. Trip set out to the left. He'll throw short on the curl route to Major.
Ooh.
Major will try to spin out of the tackle. He'll be tackled there on his own 40.
And you like what the Rays are trying to do there. So they've tried to overload the open side of the field or the wide side of the field with the trip receivers. Had the one-on-one coverage on the shallow side or the top end of the screen. Good ball there to Major, just couldn't quite break the tackle. But these are the sorts of plays that we're going to see, and allow their players to get some space and try and make some one-on-one plays to get some chunks of yards.
2nd down and 6, ball on the Gold Coast 40. Napier, again, trip set, same formation, wants the slant to
Riku.
Hiku Hataya, and he gets it. Bit of veteranship on display on that last pass.
Yeah, nice pass. And Kashto is not happy with his offensive line right now.
Now I'm trying to figure out who was calling out there. You believe it was LT there. All I heard was, why are you watching? Why are you watching?
I won't call out the player that he was calling out, but yes, it was definitely one of the offensive linesmen that he was questioning what he was doing on that last play.
Nevertheless, a quick conversion following the big quarterback draw on 4th and short to keep this drive alive. Getting close to 3 minutes, I would have to imagine. Possibly even inside the 2s now. Salvo in the flat, breaks through 2 Rhinos before the 3rd takes him down after he gets past the Rhinos' 40-yard line.
Salvo's elusiveness there and agility certainly helped turn something that really could have been quite a significant loss there into a couple-of-yard gain.
As far as get out of the phone booth elusiveness, I think Salvo would be up there with anyone in the league right now, including the likes of Darius Holiday-Miller.
No, I'd agree with that, absolutely.
2nd down and 7. 3 receivers left. Napier set to pass, looking for the flat. Doesn't have enough on it. The man in target was, again, Ariku Hataya.
There's a man I think we spoke about in week 1, Kenny, who has probably retired more times than Brett Favre did.
Yeah. I think this must be his out. As far as I know, last I heard, he was working as a nurse or intensive care nurse, I think.
Yes, correct.
And you can imagine the sort of hours he puts in through there. Yeah. So I think anyone who works a job as stressful as that needs some sort of out.
Yeah, no, I think that's what keeps bringing him back.
Indeed, it does. Finnish background, I believe.
Yes. I believe he played for the Finnish national team, actually.
There you go. 3rd down. Once again, 7 yards ahead here for Gold Coast. Of course, this will be easily 4th down territory. Napier, just ahead of the 2-minute warning, will tuck this and run himself. Will slowly cut and spin out of a tackle. James Calishaw over his shoulders, and that was one of the less aggressive runs and tackles I've seen tonight.
I did actually think, Kenny, as I was watching that, it did look very Tom Brady-esque, that run.
Indeed it did, for someone as athletic as Dylan Napier. And I think that fooled the veteran and Calishaw in responding in kind. He was first to respond there. And on 4th down, I think that was the Stingrays who took their first time out of the half.
Correct. No, I think Calishaw might have thought that Napier was going to
give himself up?
Yeah, take a slide or do something there. It sort of looked like he was thinking about it and then decided to keep going at a meandering pace. So timeout here by the Stingrays, 4th and 5. This is to keep the game alive, so you'd imagine there would be plenty being discussed here, not only for the first down, but obviously 2 scores and time are huge factors right now. So not just converting here, but getting a big chunk of yards or a score is certainly key.
Just getting another time update there. 1 minute, 20 seconds, thanks to our man Graham Spur on the sideline.
Doing a fantastic job for us down there.
So inside the 2-minute warning, which we apologise, we somehow missed. 4th down and 5. They converted 1 already. They'll trust Salvo to do it, and that he does. Look at the stiff arm.
What a run.
And he will advance this ball to the Rhinos 22. Clock is running until this very moment. The Stingrays will use their 2nd time out of the half.
Great run there by Salvo. Good ball carrier vision and elusiveness. And great way to finish the run as well. Took on the tacklers, kept churning the legs, and got a couple of extra yards, which right now really is key. As we literally just mentioned, time and yards are a big problem for the Stingrays at the moment. And now that we're probably inside or very close to the 1 minute left at the moment, and with only, I believe, 1 time out left for the Stingrays, they really do need to find a score here in a hurry.
Yeah, they got plenty enough, more than enough time, I should say, to score on this possession. But can they leave themselves enough time to then recover an onside kick and score once more?
And that's, I think, where the question comes, Kenny, is, if they can score here, and then obviously with the then if they can recover the onside kick, do they have the explosiveness in their offense to get a second score that fast.
And just punting away as we do, you think about the multiple ways they could do it. Quick slant's been the option here, but I would say my favourite way would be try to find a way to get the ball into that man wearing jersey number 9's hands, whether it's a screen, swing pass, just handing him the ball. That actually might be a more productive option than throwing the ball downfield.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, Kenny.
With just over a minute on the clock, 3 wide receivers head to the right-hand side here for the Gold Coast Stingrays. Napier pumps, throws for the end zone, but no one but Rhinos are within the vicinity of it. Riku Hutaya was the closest ray, and that pass will fall incomplete. Now the Rhinos will take their 3rd and final timeout here as they try to defend the Gold Coast Stingrays from adding any more points in this Week 4 matchup.
Yeah, good deep ball there from Napier. I'm just not sure whether there was a miscommunication on the route concept or play call in the huddle.
I think Nathan Ashton-Mile actually just got a really good jam.
Yeah, okay.
On Riku Hutaya on that last play there, and Napier threw, hoping that that's where he would be right then, but his route was delayed by the good hands of Ashton Miles. 2nd down and 10 to go here. Week 4 action. The closest game we've had on broadcast so far.
I think you touched on it before, Kenny. It's good to have such a close game for us to call. It's been very, very entertaining from 2 of the younger squads that we've got in the league at the moment. Has certainly been very entertaining for us in terms of watching these young talents out there today.
Doesn't it just? So many injuries to this unit as well. Both teams relying on young players filling in roles that perhaps they mightn't have been ready for yet, but had to step up for. It looks like there's more discussion going on regarding possibly time remaining.
Maybe timeouts. Yeah, time remaining or timeouts, I think.
In any case, by our count, the Rhinos are out of timeouts now, and the Stingrays have 1. We missed the 2-minute warning, so there's half a chance we missed the Stingrays timeout. Napier has got time to throw. He looks for Major, and it is batted down there. The combination of Chiam James and Nate Ashton-Miles.
Tough double coverage to throw into there, particularly with those 2 lurking back there. Look, not a bad ball by Napier. They've got to start taking some shots here. And it brings up good pass protection there as well. Actually, they've got plenty of time, good ability to step up into the pocket. Just throws a little bit late potentially into double coverage, and now brings up 3rd down as it looks like Stingrays O-lineman is going off. I can't quite make out who that is.
Number 57, that is Charles Vaalepu. But what was interesting on that last play here, it looked like the Rhinos defense, the defensive front, were told to sort of hem Napier in. I think they're backing their DBs against an inexperienced QB rather than giving him the ability to possibly squirt out for a game-changing run. This is 3rd down and 10. Under a minute remaining. 1 timeout left here for the Stingrays. Snap is good. Napier wants the end zone. Looking for Riku Hutaya, but this game is sealed with an interception there by Chiam James.
We figured at some point today we'd be calling his name to make a big play on defense, and there we have it. So, again, good protection on the O-line there. Napier, obviously, with time and the scoreboard situation we've already covered, definitely had to take the shot. Just slightly late on that ball, and China makes a great play to intercept that, and that will probably seal it, I'd say.
Well, this game, it's going to be bookended, start and finish by that man wearing jersey number 23, Chiam James. Sent a few worries through the Rhinos camp after being walked off with the very first play on his kick return. Heals up and comes back in time to get the game-sealing intercept to allow the Rhinos to likely advance or improve their record to 3 wins and 1 loss. And just a situation here where the Rhinos should be just kneeling this game out. They've got Calder Shanks back really deep just in case. And now they've brought him back up to a more traditional victory formation. So it's been a trial of so many quarterbacks this evening. Even the backups had to come in and make plays there. Noah Hull stepping in for the Gold Coast Stingrays. Will be a decision for Coach Lance Tonguikilo and offensive coordinator Connor Brewster of who they may go for the next couple of weeks between Napier and Noah Hull. Noah Hull showed glimpses of hope there as well. And Riley Dix, well, he took a big shot there from Louis Barisi, which caused an ejection. We'll see what his status is for next week, although I'm led to believe Bradford will be ready for week 5. Of course, Sam Bull was forced to step in as well, and didn't he make some plays when they needed him to? Came in and ran for the 4th down conversion, which ultimately began the sealing process of this game, and pitched the final touchdown to Wood to give the 2-score lead here, which sees the Rhinos out here full-time. Week 4 at West Mitchelton Rugby League Football Club, where the home side, the Brisbane Rhinos, have taken away a 14-point victory, 20 points to 7 over the visiting Gold Coast Stingrays. Adam Bolton, closing thoughts.
Yeah, look, great game. I think the Rhinos were the cleaner team in terms of their execution throughout the night, and had a little bit of trouble down in the red zone, which potentially could have made the scoreboard a whole lot more one-sided. So plenty of good things, I think, for both teams to work on. But as you alluded to already, Kenny, a lot of questions here now for both teams around their quarterback position and what's going to happen for the back half of this season.
Just a touchdown count there. The lone touchdown for the Gold Coast Stingrays came on their first drive to number 9, Gab Salvo. Following that, the 3 touchdown score for the Brisbane Rhinos. Max Williams continued his touchdown trends, and Wood added a double in the second half. So a big day for the Rhinos. They move up the ladder here. Once again, an acknowledgement to our sponsors. Resistance Sports Science from Inaugura, OzMV Brisbane, iSponsor, the Sporting Globe Chermside, and Academy 49 for the Gold Coast Stingrays. On behalf of LSB Australia and my co-caller here, Adam Bolton, thank you for joining us this evening and weathering the storm both literally and figuratively in the first half. We are off for a break next week before returning for more action here at Mitchelton in round 6. But tomorrow, keep an eye out. Youth Division football being covered by LSB Australia. They'll be shown in the evening of myself, Kenny Andres, and LSB Australia will be down there covering all the youth football action as we check out the Gridiron Queensland Heroes of tomorrow. See you then.